Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. I become stronger when I signed in at Naruto. Chapter 41. Although it was heartbroken, Dashiwan thought about it carefully, and Chinyu did tell the truth. It can be said that without the Konoha invasion that he created, it would be impossible to build Chinyu's reputation. It will not create Chinyu's current position in Konoha. The conversation between the two was clearly heard by Tsunade, and there was a huge shock in his heart. How old is this kid? Is he going to be Hokage? And he was his own teacher. The third generation of Naruto Sarutobi was pushed up. I think that the youngest and most talented fourth-generation Naruto Feng Shui Gate was not as strong as this boy. And Tsunade also heard from the conversation between the two that Orochimaru seemed to have suffered a lot from Chinyu's acceptance. Moreover, the loss is not a general loss. It is obviously a big loss or even a heavy loss. You, who are you? Tsunade muttered as he looked at Chinyu blankly. Well, Konoha's hero. Chinyu grinned. What Chinyu said was really shameless. Tsunade is not an ordinary person, and his face suddenly sinks. Konoha's little devil, are you doing this now? It seems that I haven't returned to Konoha for too long. Chinyu didn't care about what Tsunade said. Chinyu, stop talking nonsense. What are you going to do when you suddenly appear here? Dashiwan stared at Chinyu coldly, and asked in a deep voice. Chinyu didn't panic, and pulled out his ears. You don't want to hide, and still dare to come out and show your face now, you are really courageous. You, Orochimaru said angrily. You can only speak quickly. He is so embarrassed now, and the creator of all this is not the young man in front of him, Uchiha Chinyu. Even if he came to this short book street today to meet Tsunade for a deal, it was not caused by Chinyu. Through the use of special methods last time to completely run away the reincarnated person from the dirty soil, Orochimaru paid a large enough sacrifice. This has also led to his current physical weakness, decreased strength, and a sickly posture. This time he came to see Tsunade. He hoped that through Tsunade, through his medical ninjutsu, he could speed up the recovery of his injury. And such a thing, Dashiwan would definitely not tell Chinyu. After all, Chinyu and himself are enemies, who would say that to the enemy? Facing Dashuan's question, Chinyu smiled and said, what am I here to do? What do you do? However, I probably know what you are here for. Chinyu sneered. Chinyu turned around and looked at Tsunade with a serious face. When Tsunade saw that Chinyu suddenly became so serious, he suddenly became a little confused. Tsunade-sama, you are Konoha's ninja, and you are also the first generation of Naruto granddaughter, 3 generations of Naruto, are you sure you want to go with Orochimaru? Chinyu said a simple sentence, but he said it with such a serious expression. Suddenly, Tsunade's face was a little hot spicy. But who is Tsunade? What is his personality? That's a character with all Tsunade attributes. Would she accept Chinyu's duties so easily? Obviously not. Seeing his face with a sullen face, he coldly said to Chinyu, how does my old lady behave? Do you still need your little devil's approval? As soon as he finished speaking, Tsunade suddenly felt something wrong. After all, Chinyu was from the 5th generation of Hokage, so talking to Hokage in this way was obviously a bit too much. Randomly explained embarrassingly, I'm just doing some cooperative transactions with Orochimaru. Besides, although Orochimaru has defected for so many years, he has never done anything to Konoha. After Chinyu listened, he looked at Tsunade amusedly. It seems that what I just heard is the most funny joke of the year. What did you just say? Are you sure you're not talking to me? Amused. Seeing Chinyu's appearance, Tsunade's face suddenly sank, and said, what do you mean? Chinyu smiled and said, I haven't done anything to Konoha. You know he had launched a destruction operation in Konoha not long ago. If it weren't for Xiaoyi, I'm pretty good, I guess Konoha should be half gone now. As for your teacher, the 3rd generation of Hokage, it is estimated that he will have to burp in his hands. Nani? Tsunade's face changed drastically when he heard this. He never expected the matter to be so serious. He had heard the rumors before, and he thought it was just a little trouble, and he didn't take it seriously. After all, Konoha's belongings are there, what can happen? But now that Chinyu said this, he was shocked. Chinyu seemed to be dissatisfied with Tsunade's reaction, and began to throw bombs one after another. Chinyu smiled coldly and said, Master Tsunade, do you know what method this guy used to destroy Konoha? Yes, what is it? Seeing Chin Yu's sudden question, Tsunade asked curiously, but for some reason, at this time, his heart faintly trembled. It's the forbidden technique in the Book of Sealing, reincarnating from the dirty land. In order to destroy Konoha, he just blasphemed the soul of the ancestors and forcibly summoned the first-generation Hokage and the second-generation Hokage from the Pure Land for driving. What are you talking about? Tsunade's face changed drastically when he heard the words, and the flames of rage were burning. The first generation of Hokage and the second generation of Hokage, that is Tsunade's grandfather, that is close relatives. At the same time, the two of them are the founders of Konoha and Konoha's beliefs, and they are both heroes who stand up to the ground. However, I didn't expect that these two people would be so desecrated by Dashiwan. Such an approach immediately made Tsunade extremely angry. Although he wanted to use the hand of Orochimaru to let him use the dirty soil to reincarnate and summon the broken rope tree. But in the final analysis, it is just to solve my longing feelings. Unlike Dashimaru, they use them as their own tool bargaining chips to carry out some destruction plans. Immediately Tsunade glared at the Orochimaru, clenching his fists. Orochimaru was not afraid, but said contentedly, Suna, now you believe in my strength, I can fulfill your wish. Orochimaru's words caused Tsunade to stop his anger for a while. The head is low, it seems to be thinking, or tangled. Seeing Tsunade's appearance, Chinyu secretly covered his head. This guy is really big-headed. In order to let Tsunade go astray, Chinyu began to act as a force. The corner of Chinyu's mouth twitched, and he said confidently, speaking of which, I want to reincarnate in the dirty soil and call people, let me say it earlier. To be honest, I'm not talented, I just happen to be able to reincarnate in this filthy soil. As soon as Chinyu's voice fell, everyone was in a daze, all staring at Chinyu in a daze. Tsunade looked at Chinyu's gaze, suddenly becoming hot. The breathing also speeds up unconsciously. Compared with cooperating with Dashiwan, if you can cooperate with Chinyu, it will be a higher ending. After all, Orochimaru is his own enemy, and even a master killer, no matter how he cooperates with him, he has concerns. But not working with Chinyu. After all, he is Konoha's person, it can be said that he is his own. There is no need to worry about cooperative transactions between one's own people. You're talking nonsense, you will also reincarnate in filthy soil. Dashimaru's face was full of disdain. He didn't believe that Chinyu could be reincarnated from the dirty soil. This was a kind of self-confidence, a self-confidence of mystery. Don't believe it. Chinyu smiled and said, think about it for yourself, is it easy for me to reincarnate in your dirty soil? Hearing this, Dashiwan was taken aback for a moment, and then began to think about it. I don't want to know it, my face suddenly doesn't look good when I think about it. Except for Chinyu, who deliberately tried to compete with the people who reincarnated from the dirty soil at the beginning, he directly sealed them in space. This decisive and effective method is very simple. Although Orochimaru was no longer there at the time, don't forget that his technique of reincarnating from the dirty soil is still there. Through the technique of reincarnation from the dirty earth, he finally knew what the outcome would be. Seeing Orochimaru's face getting worse and worse, Tsunade understood in a blink of an eye. This guy, it is estimated that he will really reincarnate in the dirt. Still don't believe it. Chinyu didn't believe it when he saw Orochimaru and Tsunade, so he had to make a special move. I saw that his hands continued to form seals, and several mudra were formed. Seeing the handprint in Chinyu's hand, Dashiwan's face changed drastically. This mudra is clearly the seal of rebirth from the dirty soil. After Tsunade noticed the changes in Orochimaru, he asked guessingly, what kind of seal is this? This is part of the magic seal for reincarnation of the dirty soil, do you believe it now? Chinyu said lightly. Hearing that, Tsunade believed it now. Although he didn't understand Shuyin, Tsunade had already believed a lot when he saw Dashimaru's shocked face. Yeah, Tsunade nodded, his expression suddenly a little solemn. I just said how the old man passed the position of Hokage to this kid, because it turned out that his talent was so outstanding. To say that before, Tsunade still had doubts about Chinyu becoming Hokage in the 5 dynasties, but now he doesn't. After all, the fact of talent lies here. Such a talented person can be said to be Konoha's strongest, none of them. In this way, Orochimaru, there is really no need for us to cooperate. Tsunade said with a sneer. Seeing Tsunade's sudden change, Orochimaru's face suddenly dripped with gloomy expression. Chin-yu. It's this Chin-yu again. He is like his own nightmare, always keeping himself in the dark. He can always let his plan be destroyed. Seeing Da Shi-wan's face, Chin-yu suddenly felt amused. With a chuckle, he said, cooperation. It is necessary to cooperate with Dashimaru. Tsunade wondered. He was still undermining their cooperation just now, and now he is being asked to cooperate. What is this guy's intention? Just change the way of cooperation. What do you mean? Chin-yu smiled and looked at the Orochimaru. The rebirth of the dirty soil requires a living sacrifice. If you want to turn around two people, Tsunade-sama, naturally you need two sacrifices. As for the sacrifice, it's just. Chin-yu stopped after half talking. But Tsunade understood it, and Orochimaru understood it too. Tsunade looked at Orochimaru with an uncomfortable expression, as if he could do anything at any time. Da Shi-wan's expression changed drastically. He didn't expect Chin-yu to do this suddenly. Although Tsunade is a medical ninja, as one of the three ninjas, how could he not have the strength? He can save people, and he can kill people as well. There is no need to cooperate with Dashimaru now. Does he have any concerns? Obviously, there are no other concerns, and you can do it directly. Da Shi-wan panicked, and the pharmacist's pocket beside her trembled directly. As the saying goes, people are following, and disaster comes from heaven. Orochimaru, haven't seen you for many years, I don't know if you have made any progress. Tsunade couldn't help it. I heard the two talk for so long, and now I can't help but want to leave the big snake pill. Bang! Chin-yu took out the Thunder God sword out of thin air. Humph! Seeing Tsunade's eagerness, Orochimaru was eager to try, and Chin-yu took out the Thunder God's sword, took a deep breath, and prepared to fight. However, although Chin-yu took out the Thunder God sword, he did not directly take it. Instead, he raised the Thunder God's sword in his hand and gently stood in front of Tsunade's mountain. Hiss! The silence on the side, seeing this scene, took a breath of cold air for a while. Secretly glanced at Tsunade-sama, and found that Tsunade-sama's current expression was extremely wonderful. The corners of his mouth twitched, his eyebrows trembled, and his figure trembled. For so many years, no one has ever dared to do this to Tsunade-sama. Even Jiraiya-sama, who is also one of the three ninjas, was almost beaten to death when he spied on Tsunade-sama before. What is the boy in front of him? The young boy in front of him was really courageous. Chin-yu just pretended to sway, but he didn't expect to actually run into it. However, it feels really good. Although separated by the Thunder God's sword, Chin-yu could still clearly feel that powerful. Chin-yu couldn't help holding the Thunder God's sword and shook it a few more times. Hey, kid, Tsunade clenched his fists and said furiously, do you want to die? The facts are all accidents, I just want to tell you, I don't need you to make a move, I will do it alone. Chin-yu said with a smile. This idiot is still smiling. Tsunade gritted his teeth. However, when he thought that Chin-yu didn't want to let him do it, he was a little moved. Immediately waved his hand very grandiosely and said, no, I will definitely take action on my matter. Actually, I mean, Chin-yu thought about what he should say. I don't know what you mean, but can you take this broken sword from my old mother's chest first? Tsunade said angrily. Oh, I just forgot about something. Chin-yu curled his lips, a bit reluctant in his eyes. Obviously it was not what he thought, but another idea. The softness disappeared, and Chin-yu felt a little unhappy. Immediately said, actually, what I mean is that if you intervene, it may drag me down. Hiss. The silence at the back suddenly took a breath of cold air. This guy is too arrogant, he said so. You mean my old lady will hold you back? Tsunade said angrily. Yes, Chin-yu said sincerely and sincerely. You. Chin-yu's answer, the angry Tsunade almost gave him a punch. This kid, why do you owe such a beating? Holding back the urge to hammer him, Tsunade sneered coldly. Smelly boy, when my old lady was fighting for Konoha, you didn't know where to play in the mud. Today I will let you know what is called Sanin. After Tsunade finished speaking, he rushed towards Orochimaru. Chin-Yu twitched the corners of his mouth, and muttered in a low voice, Forbearance is not just pornography, gambling, and drugs, I've known this for a long time. At this time, Tsunade had already hit Oshimaru. As for the little brother pharmacist pocket that Dashiwan was carrying around, he completely ignored it. Obviously, the strength of this product is too weak, so weak that Tsunade doesn't have the motivation to make a move. Chin-Yu shook the Thunder God's sword in his hand and just took 2 steps. Oshimaru, who was fighting Tsunade, was taken aback for a while, and hurriedly backed away. Seeing this scene, Tsunade frowned and said, Smelly boy, this is a battle between me and him, don't interfere. Yes, then you were busy. Chin-Yu retracted the Thunder God's sword and walked back again. When Chin-Yu went back again, Dashiwan felt relieved again. Boom, boom, boom. Tsunade's strange power is well known in the ninja world. Ordinary fist attacks are extremely powerful. Soon, his battle with Dashimaru turned the surrounding terrain into pits and bumps. However, as a former friend and comrade in arms, Ozna is very familiar with Tsunade. Because, Oshimaru has never been confrontational with Tsunade, but has to deal with it back and forth. But he focused more on Chin-Yu's body instead of Tsunade, who was the opponent. After all, Dashiwan knew very well that Chin-Yu's strength was even more terrifying compared to Tsunade. I would rather take a few more punches than Chin-Yu. A few punches by Tsunade were injuries at most. But if I give Chin-Yu a few times, I guess I have to explain it here. And Oshimaru's behavior was apparently discovered by Tsunade. Tsunade was furious for a while, look down on me. Tsunade's self-esteem was immediately hurt, and the strength he used on his hands and feet increased. Tongtianjiao. Tsunade looked at an opportunity, and a cheating fell from the sky. Compared to just now, the power and speed of this attack have been greatly improved. Bang! The earth burst instantly, and with Tsunade as the center, spider-like cracks began to spread around. At this moment, Tsunade suddenly became fierce, and Oshimaru didn't have time to react, so he couldn't avoid it. Because of a slight injury. Be careful, Lord Oshimaru. As Dashuan's most loyal little follower, Yao Shido was also taken aback by just now. Dashiwan was injured and her complexion suddenly became gloomy. Hateful. Dashiwan opened his mouth, and the snake head in his mouth was thrown out by him. Whoosh. Since the two were very close, Tsunade was immediately tied up by the snake head of Oshimaru. Asshole. Tied by the snake head of Oshimaru, Tsunade felt sick. Grasping the snake head of Dashiwan with both hands, suddenly exerted force. The terrifying strange power exploded, not only breaking free from the bondage of the snake head of the big snake pill, but at the same time, taking the snake head as the center, smashed the big snake pill up. Bang! The huge smoke was engulfing, and the ground was once again torn apart under Tsunade's strange power. As the victim, Oshimaru did not suffer much damage at this time. Shaking his slightly dizzy head, he calmly stood up from the ground. Humph! Seeing Oshimaru standing up again, Tsunade was slightly upset, and then rushed up again. The pharmacist's pocket on the side was vaguely worried when he saw that the current form was not good for Dashiwan. However, in the face of Tsunade who rushed back again, Oshimaru didn't panic at all. Instead, he took out a handful of kunai from the shinbag and faced Tsunade. Tsunade looked disdainful when he saw Oshimaru actually took out kunai. In her opinion, as a shadow-level powerhouse, Dashimaru would actually use kunai, this kind of devaluation weapon. However, when Tsunade raised his fist, he was about to hit Oshimaru. On the other hand, Dashimaru smiled weirdly, and the kunai in his hand turned over and pierced the palm of his hand. Puff! Blood splashed, and some splashed directly on Tsunade's face. Tsunade, who had been aggressively coming, had completely froze in place after seeing the blood of Oshimaru. Ah, no! Tsunade was splashed with blood, and his pupils suddenly tightened. The whole person was no longer as brave as before, but trembling all over. Blood is blood. Looking at the blood, Tsunade slumped directly on the ground, still muttering in his mouth, alive from a frightened child. Tsunade-sama, be careful. Mute in the distance, seeing this, was also taken aback. Although concerned, but did not come forward. Because she knew that going up by herself had no effect. Haha, Tsunade, I didn't expect that after so many years, your phobia is not healed. Oshimaru Zayakse said with a smile. If that's the case, then go to death. Kuwu flips, Dashawan is the killer directly. Since there is no hope for cooperation, what is left for her to do? As for the comradeship, in the eyes of Dashimaru, it is completely nonsense. What kind of comradeship is a joke? Taking advantage of this, solving a hidden enemy is more real than anything else. Tsunade, who was frightened by the blood and stricken with blood, saw the kunai pierced towards him by Orochimaru, and his pupils were also constricted. However, his body remained motionless, as if he was waiting for death. Suna-sama. Silent was so frightened that it took time to fade away. But he really had no choice but to stand quietly and exclaimed. What a troublesome woman. Chin-yu in the distance shook his head helplessly. In the next moment, his figure disappeared in place. You don't believe what I said, and you have to do it well. It's all right now. Tsunade, who was desperate, suddenly heard an extremely beating sound from his side. Ding! Kang! Chin-yu's sword of Thunder God was able to hold the kunai of Orochimaru with great accuracy. Nani? Dashiwan was shocked. I thought I was already vigilant enough for Chin-yu. However, he never expected that he would be close in an instant now. At this time, is space ninjutsu really riding a horse like this? It's simply impossible to guard against. This horse is also a defensive ass. Chin-yu's arm used force to hold the Thunder God's sword of Kuwu with a single slash, and he smashed the Kuwu from the Orochimaru. Orochimaru, then it's my turn to play with you. Chin-yu looked at Dashiwan with a sneer, holding the Thunder God's sword and playing a sword flower. Seeing Chin-yu playing a sword trick holding the Thunder God's sword, Dashiwan was startled for a while. Rub, rub, rub. Chin-yu held the Thunder God's sword and slashed at the Dashiwan. The sword strokes were very consistent, and the strokes stabbed towards the Orochimaru fatally. Facing Chin-yu's attack, Dashiwan was so frightened that he dodged and retreated. Facing Chin-yu's Thunder God's sword, Orochimaru's whole body tightened. Tsunade's strange power fist is strong, but facing his remodeled body, it is no problem to get a few punches. But Thor's sword is different. This is a divine weapon, as sharp as his own Kusunaru sword. The sharpness of this thing doesn't matter whether your body is strengthened or not, as long as you are rubbed against it, you will definitely see blood. Chin-yu's only Kuwu in Dashimaru just now had no weapons to resist. Dashawan without weapons can only passively avoid Chin-yu's swordsmanship attack. Even though he was hiding, the clothes on Orochimaru's body was still torn by Chin-yu's Thunder God sword. Dashimaru's spirit is highly concentrated, while avoiding, he is still looking for opportunities. Looking for an opportunity to escape. As long as it finds an opportunity, Dashawan will immediately take the pharmacist's pocket, and immediately retreat. Seeing Chin-yu who suddenly appeared next to him, Tsunade was also taken aback. What he had just performed was God of Thunder, Time and Space Ninjutsu. Unexpectedly, he would be able to perform ninjutsu at this level, no wonder he was so arrogant. However, when did Thunder God have such a fast speed? Unless, Tsunade saw a small rune in front of the double peaks on his chest, which was the rune of Fei Lei Shen. This kid just took the opportunity to get the mark of Flying Thunder God on me. This kid is really not meticulous in his mind. Although Tsunade was unable to move because of panspermia, it didn't mean that her mind could not move either. As Sanin, his mind is definitely okay. In the blink of an eye, she sorted out the matter. Chin-yu was fighting with Dashawan, seeing Tsunade still trembling, and shook his head. There is really no money. And at this moment, Silent ran over holding her food reserve piglet. While holding up Tsunade distressedly, he scolded Chin-yu angrily. Why are you like this? Master Tsunade is like this, you're still talking coldly. I'm just seeking truth from facts. Chin-yu rolled his eyes. For you women with big breasts, nothing seems to work. Hearing this, silently stomped his feet. He helped Tsunade-sama quickly and went directly to the side to rest. Dashawan retreated while beating, and after a while, he retreated to the side of the medicine master pocket. His right hand threw a white snake towards the pharmacist, and then he continued to fight Chin-yu. White Snake came to the front of Medicine Master Do, and suddenly vomited. Do, listen to me. After that, this person secretly communicated with each other. After that, Yao Shido turned around and ran away, leaving Dashawan alone. Chin-yu, I am also one of the 3 forbearances no matter what. Maybe my strength can't beat you, but you still can't stop me if I want to go. Orochimaru suddenly became confused and confident. Chinyu curled his lips and said, "You are so confident." Orochimaru smiled coldly, pretending to be calm. How could Chinyu's strength be so unclear? However, now in order for the pharmacist to escape, he must hold on. As long as Tu is still alive, he can be resurrected. If the pocket is dead, although he can also be resurrected, there are too many unstable factors. Moreover, Orochimaru still had confidence in his own means of escape. After all, his own means of escape had never been exposed in front of Chinyu. Shulking snake hand. Dozens of white snakes protruded from Dashuan's cuffs and rushed towards Chinyu with teeth and claws. This old trick again, you are all bored. Chinyu sighed lightly and shook his head. Seeing the white snake rushing at such speed, Chinyu didn't bother to move the sword of Thunder God. After all, a snake needs dozens of swords to make a sword. Instead of wasting time to kill with one sword and one sword, it is better to come directly to a ninjutsu to give him a group kill. When it was said that it was too late, then it was fast, and a thunder rang. Stabbed. There was no seal on Chinyu's empty hand, and a powerful thunder and lightning had already appeared. This time the thunder and lightning were different from the past, but spread from the hands to the whole body. With the blink of an eye, thunder and lightning completely wrapped Chinyu. Raiden's package to Chinyu was very strict, and it could be said that it was directly airtight. Orochimaru, die. Chinyu smiled coldly, and rushed towards the Dashuan without any fear. Hiss. The white snake released by Dashuan was instantly scorched by the powerful thunder and lightning when it hit Chinyu, who was covered in thunder and lightning. Blinking, dozens of scorched snakes were lying on the ground. A strong smell of roasted meat also radiated from the burnt snake. He was holding Tsunade to the side in silence, but when he smelled the smell, he subconsciously swallowed. Obviously, this smells delicious. Dashiwan's face sank. It wasn't just that the ninjutsu was broken by Chinyu instantly. The reason why he was even more angry was that Chinyu's strength seemed to have become stronger. As for himself, he is still standing still and has not grown. This discovery made Orochimaru very uncomfortable. After all, his desire is to continuously become stronger, and in order to become stronger, he will conduct crazy research on the forbidden technique. In fact, this is a very common phenomenon in the ninja world. That is the early stage of the ninja. The growth is very fast, but once the strength reaches the elite level of ninja, it is difficult to improve the strength. Once the strength reaches the shadow level, it will be even more difficult to gain growth in strength. However, the person in front of him, Chinyu, seemed to break common sense. Not only did the strength not stagnate because of this, but it went up and down like a train. This is a bit scary. Dashiwan still remembers the first time he started with Chinyu. Even though he suffered a loss in Chinyu's hands for the first time at that time, it was also because he underestimated the enemy and he was afraid of affecting his plan. But at that time, Chinyu, under the feeling of Dashiwan, his strength did not reach how strong it was. However, in a short period of time, he was completely unable to match Chinyu. Facing Chinyu, Dashiwan even felt suffocated. Chinyu's active attack by Thunder Dun Jutsu broke the ninjutsu of Orochimaru. In a hurry, Orochimaru couldn't take care of that much anymore, and quickly dissipated the ninjutsu Shark Shadow Snake hand in his hand, and fled in embarrassment. Chinyu looked at Dashiwan's embarrassed appearance, which was also funny. With a slight tick at the corner of his mouth, he rushed directly towards the Dashuan. Seeing Chinyu rushing towards him, Dashiwan suddenly became extremely ugly. The thumb of the left hand quickly bit through the mouth, and then desperately backed up, while quickly forming a handprint. Psychic art. Bang! Dashiwan slapped the ground with both hands, and a large swath of white smoke suddenly rose up. The white smoke dissipated, and a white giant snake, 10,000 snake, appeared on the ground. As for Dashiwan, she stood on Wan Shi's head with a gloomy face at this time. As soon as Wan Shi appeared, Dashiwan seemed to have a little confidence in her heart. Dashiwan, who had recovered a little confidence, stared at Chinyu again. Chinyu looked at Dashiwan and the 10,000 snakes under his feet, and curled his lips in disdain. Dashiwan, it's either a small snake or a big snake, can you still be a little prosperous? Qin Yu slowly stretched out his right hand, the powerful chakra in his body began to rush, and finally gathered in his palm. Blinking his eyes, a blue ball spinning at high speed was formed in his hand. Nani? This is Helix Pill. Tsunade, who was helped aside by the silence of the break, has recovered quite a bit now. Seeing the spiral pill in Qin Yu's hand, he was suddenly shocked. After that, she thought that Qin Yu had actually learned the time and space ninjutsu of Flying Thunder God, and it seemed not impossible to know this spiral pill. After all, Fei Lei Shen's time and space ninjutsu is known as the most difficult ninjutsu to learn. This kind of ninjutsu cannot know some other low-level ninjutsu. After calming down a bit, Tsunade was shocked again. The spiral pill in Qin Yu's hand was not fixed at this size. On the contrary, under Qin Yu's chakra injection, it quickly swelled. Until the end, the size of the spiral pill actually reached the size of more than 2 meters in diameter. This is. Tsunade's eyes widened, and his mouth opened involuntarily. Obviously he was also shocked by Qin Yu's spiral pill. Dashawan, try my big jade spiral pill. Qin Yu said softly toward the big snake pill, and then pushed his spiral pill toward Wanshi. Dashawan is not imaginary either. As a strong shadow class, his eyesight and intuition are all tempered. When Qin Yu Helix pill became bigger, Dashi pill's heart faintly felt bad. After the spiral pill was formed, Dash pill directly escaped from Wanshi's head. The Dashawan, which left Wanshi's head, retreats and retreats, retreats and then retreats. Wow! Before Wanshi could react, he was hit firmly by Qin Yu's big jade spiral pill. 10,000 snakes were beaten by the heavy rain spiral pill, and the skin was rotten, blood flowed. That miserable appearance is as miserable as it is. Dayu Helix pill not only caused damage to Wanshi's surface, but even inside his body was traumatized. The hideous Sheku was vomiting blood, and after the snake's head shook twice, its vitality was gone. Boom! With a loud noise, the huge body of the snake fell directly, splashing smoke and dust in the sky. Even the ground trembled slightly because of his fall. The direction in which the snake head fell was the direction of Silence. Scoon. Silent was startled, and swallowed hard. This young man, his strength is so powerful. Even Dashuan's psychic beast Wanshi could be solved by one move. This is too strong. Thinking of yelling at him just now, he wouldn't retaliate against me. Probably not. They are all Konoha, all of their own people, maybe not. Silent Heart was faintly afraid. As for Tsunade, her gaze at Qin Yu was full of surprises. This Qin Yu really brought her too many surprises. Is this ninjutsu called Dayu Helix Maru? Tsunade murmured alone. Although Helix Maru was created by the 4th generation of Naruto, Tsunade didn't expect it. Qin Yu not only learned the spiral pill, but also strengthened and upgraded the spiral pill. The current spiral pill had reached a new height in Qin Yu's hands. At this time, Tsunade seemed to understand more and more why his teacher, the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi, chose Qin Yu as the new Naruto. Maybe Qin Yu could really bring Konoha a different future. Or, Qin Yu could bring a different change to this world of ninja. Some people, when they were born, were destined to become masters, destined to exist to break the rules. And Qin Yu happened to be this person. Dashi Wan, who had just escaped and stood still, suddenly changed his face. He psychically summoned 10,000 snakes. Without doing anything yet, he was killed directly by Qin Yu's move. This is a horse. Dashi Wan wanted to scold his mother directly. This Qin Yu was really abnormal. This kid is so perverted, how can he let others mess with him? Such a violent high-level ninjutsu, just let it go, and it doesn't give others a chance to react. And even more desperate was indeed that Qin Yu, who had just finished his big move, didn't panic. It seems that what I put just now is not a big move, but an ordinary ninjutsu. After that, there was no pause, and he rushed directly towards him again. Dashi Wan is messy and painful. After all, after fighting Qin Yu so many times, he understood a truth. If you can't beat Qin Yu in ninjutsu, then once you get close to him, just wait for death. After all, Qin Yu couldn't get close to him. Facing Qin Yu's approach, Dashi Wan could only make the only choice, that is, withdraw again and again. But something embarrassing happened. The speed of Dashi Wan's retreat was not as comfortable as Qin Yu's coming towards him. That said, he will be close sooner or later. As for asking him to turn around and run, leaving his back to Qin Yu, Dashiwan can clearly say that it is looking for death. In order to prevent Qin Yu's approaching speed, Dashiwan was retreating while also releasing some blocking ninjutsu. But who is Qin Yu? Would he be stopped by these ninjutsu? Obviously he won't. Still as before, step by step, pressing toward the big snake. Dashiwan looked at the place where the pharmacist had escaped before, and found that the pharmacist was no longer there. Dashiwan, who knew he couldn't escape, never escaped again. At this point, you can't run away anymore. Qin Yu, do you think you will eat me? Dashiwan sneered. Come on, let's see what other tricks you can use, Qin Yu said with a sneer. As a traveler, Qin Yu knew exactly what Dashiwan had. Even if Dashiwan wanted to do it, it was still Qin Yu's expectation. No matter what, Dashiwan won't turn the sky. Jia Jia Jia. Orochimaru suddenly smiled evilly, and then stuck out his long tongue. The long tongue was wiped on his face, as if he was washing his face. What Qin Yu looked at was a little disgusting. This Dashiwan was indeed the most disgusting in the ninja world. Perhaps in other respects, Dashiwan couldn't do anything to Qin Yu. But in terms of nausea, Dashiwan was absolutely unique, and Qin Yu couldn't keep up with it. Qin Yu shuddered involuntarily, feeling very sick in his heart. After Dashiwan washed her face with her long tongue, her hands clasped her hands together to form a seal. Seeing Dashiwan's appearance, Qin Yu's mouth twitched. Obviously he could see what Dashiwan was going to do. Suddenly, Dashiwan opened his mouth, and countless snakes crawled out of his mouth quickly. Jia Jia Jia. Dashiwan spit out a snake while still talking. Qin Yu, taste my real array of 10,000 snakes. Qin Yu saw that he had to say that this ninjutsu really deserved the name. At a glance, there are tens of thousands of snakes. Tens of thousands of venomous snakes piled up on top of each other, and the whole was densely packed and overwhelming. In the face of such a huge group of snakes, if you have an intensive phobia, it is estimated that you can scare it to death without using snakes. And this, like the silence in the distance. Silent's face was already very ugly when he saw Dashiwan spit out so many snakes. Now when I saw the overwhelming viper, my whole person retched directly on the spot. Silent was the first time I saw such a disgusting ninjutsu, and I couldn't stand it anymore. As for Tsunade, facing a group of snakes, he was not as silent as silent. Instead, he was thinking about how Qin Yu would deal with so many snakes. If it's just a spiral pill alone, there are so many snakes, it can't be done. However, Qin Yu responded in the next second. Dashiwan, see how I can give you a roast snake banquet. I saw that Qin Yu easily compared it with a 10, and in the next second, there were two more figures behind him. Obviously this is a figure from the shadow clone. In the next second, Qin Yu opened his eyes. Fire escape extinguish the fire. Wind escape a big breakthrough. The two shadow avatars didn't have Jian, they just opened their mouths. Two powerful ninjutsu were released from the two shadow clones. The two ninjutsu were released at the same time, meeting in midair. The wind helped the fire, and the two ninjutsu suddenly became extremely violent. The two ninjutsu in Qin Yu's hands directly formed a brand new compound ninjutsu. Speaking of which, whether it's the extinguishment of Huo Dun's fierce fire or Feng Dun's breakthrough, the level is not high. However, these two low-level ninjutsu showed the power of S-level ninjutsu in Qin Yu's hands. And because of the blessing of the wind escape, the coverage of the extinguishing fire is wider and the power is greater. With the blessing of Feng Dun, the current violent fire can be said to destroy the sky and the earth is not an exaggeration. The tens of thousands of poisonous snakes in Dashiwan turned into roasted snakes under Qin Yu's combined ninjutsu. In the blink of an eye, the ground was covered with roasted snakes. How can this be so strong? Silent's mouth opened wide when he was shocked by the scene in front of him. Although he and Qin Yu are not close, they are in opposite directions. But he was still able to feel the scorching air wave, and comprehend the power of this ninjutsu. Tsunade was shocked. As Sannin, he had come into contact with too many amazing people. But Rao had come into contact with so many geniuses, and he had never seen a genius like Qin Yu. A combination of wind and fire ninjutsu can directly destroy the housekeeping ninjutsu of Orochimaru. If it hadn't been for Da Shiwan to escape in time, it is estimated that even he himself would have to be the same as the roasted snake on the ground. Da Shiwan was very embarrassed by the sight, watching the roasted snakes on the ground, his heart was bleeding. From the beginning, he didn't intend to use this ninjutsu to defeat Chinyu, but if he could use this ninjutsu, it would be good to hold Chinyu. Who would have thought that Chinyu would directly use this trick? Combine ninjutsu with one move to solve everything. This horse riding still fire escape. The ground is full of roasted snakes, and after the flames of the fire escape, it exudes a strong smell of barbecue. Looking at Chinyu, Da Shiwan's eyes began to lose her sense. Chinyu, in that case, even if today is death, I will make you unforgettable forever. After Da Shiwan finished speaking, he folded his hands together. The chakra inside his body boiled for a while, muttering words in his mouth, looking nervous. The chakras in the Dashuan began to converge, and a powerful wave of via gradually began to radiate. In his body, it seemed that something was slowly waking up. Even far away, Da Shiwan's via can be clearly felt. As for the low-powered mute, it was almost suffocated by Orochimaru's avia. Tsunade's pupils shrank, and as a strong shadow rank, he could clearly feel the strength of this power. Obviously, the ninjutsu that Orochimaru will perform this time is very unusual compared to before. Hey, kid, quickly solve him, don't give him another chance. Tsunade couldn't help but reminded Chinyu. But Chinyu was indifferent to Tsunade's reminder. Quietly squinting his eyes, Chinyu already knew what Dashuan was going to use. Facing Dashuan's upcoming tricks, Chinyu felt eager to try. He really wanted to know what kind of intensity the Dashuan trick could achieve. Taking this opportunity, he also wanted to see what extent his current strength can reach. Jia Jia Jia, Orochimaru laughed wildly, and dense white scales began to grow on the surface of his body. The white scales completely covered Da Shiwan's body in a blink of an eye. Immediately afterwards, the body began to swell continuously. A huge white snake-shaped monster showed its figure. The monster is covered with white scales and has a huge body, with 8 heads and 8 snow-white snake heads. Each snake's head is opening its huge mouth, revealing its own fangs, as if to swallow the sky and the earth. The huge and incomparable Yaki Orochi, standing upright. In fact, in a sense, the current Yaki Orochi is not just a snake, but should have some so-called dragon attributes. Compared with this big guy, the big snake psychic summoned by the big snake pill just now is just like a little caterpillar. Roar! As soon as the 8 big snake appeared, the 8 huge snake heads made a deafening roar at the same time. The huge body, a very powerful aura exuded. The lowest strength silent was shocked by Yaki Orochi, and almost cried out, "How come, so strong?" Hateful. Tsunade looked very ugly when he saw Yaki Oro's figure so huge. With the strange power he currently possesses, it is impossible to cause damage to this behemoth in front of him. This is what Tsunade never expected. As one of the 3 ninjas, he would have such a weak day. Roar! The one in the middle of the 8 snake heads suddenly opened a big mouth of blood to Chinyu. At this moment, in his mouth, Orochimaru's figure came out wandering. The surface of his body is all sticky mucus, and the whole person is still limp, looking very disgusting. However, he looked good about himself, and he was obviously satisfied with his current strength. Orochimaru Feng Sao's face turned upside down, spreading his hands, his face full of intoxication. Jia Jia Jia, Chinyu, hasn't he seen such a powerful force before? Da Shiwan said with a face full of grief. I told you a long time ago, don't force me, why don't you listen? Facing the attitude of Dashuan, Chinyu smiled indifferently, why do you want to listen? You are not mine, so why do you listen to you? Asshole, you still have to pretend now, I'm going to see how you continue to pretend. Dashimaru said coldly with some anger. Ha ha, Chinyu looked at Dashuan incredulously, and responded, Dashuan, you wouldn't think that you can compete with me with this. Ha ha, it's useless to say more, see the real chapter under your hand. Da Shiwan said coldly. Although the Baki technique is powerful, the sequelae of this technique are extremely large, otherwise the Dashuan will not remain useless. Especially since he is injured now, his condition is already very bad, and it is estimated that he will be injured directly after using this technique. But under Qin Yu's repeated persecution, Da Shiwan was also shot out of real fire, and he must make Qin Yu pay the price. Qin Yu, die. Da Shiwan's face was full of hideousness, and the huge body of the Yakio snake, under the control of the Da Shiwan, was crushed towards Qin Yu. As soon as the huge body of the Yaki Orochi moved, the mountain shook for a while. Qin Yu's figure is very small compared to the body of Orochimaru Yaki Asuna. Fire escape extinguished the fire. Facing the Yaki Orochi, Qin Yu's shot was a super powerful fire escape ninjutsu. The flames appeared overwhelmingly, whizzing towards the Ochi Orochi. Although the body of Yaki Orochi is very large, it is still shrouded in the flames of fire ninjutsu. However, this time, the extinguishment of the arrogant fire that has always made meritorious deeds failed to achieve results. Roar. Facing the roaring fire, the 8 heads of Yachi Orochi gathered together at the same time. After a loud roar, the 8 snake heads simultaneously spit out powerful snake breath. 8 strands of powerful snake breath flames gathered, and directly greeted the violent flames that rushed toward the face. Bang! The extremely powerful flames of the two sides collided, causing a violent explosion in the center of the flame. The sound of bang 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 was endless. The flames collided with each other and only began to dissipate after a long time. Attacking each other this time turned out to be evenly divided. Interesting, really interesting. Qin Yu hooked the corner of his mouth with interest. Qin Yu's heart suddenly became a little excited. It's been a long time since this slightly prickly excited feeling. I have to say that Dashawan, who is incarnate as Yaki Orochi, has indeed brought a different surprise to Qin Yu. On the other hand, Dashimaru was filled with confidence through the fight just now. Qin Yu, show up any tricks, otherwise you won't have a chance. At this time, the Orochimaru was extremely inflated, and felt that he had a chance to win. After all, his current state, but strong and boundless. Qin Yu looked at the swelling Dashawan and shook his head with a sneer. It seems Dashawan, you really don't understand the so-called power at all. Dashawan was taken aback for a moment. What did Qin Yu mean? Could it be that he had any other concealment methods that he hadn't used yet? I saw Qin Yu's palms spread flat, and chakras poured out frantically from the palms of both palms. Chakras converge into 2 spiral pills. Seeing Helix pill, Da Shiwan smiled contemptuously and said, Qin Yu, do you think you can beat me with this big jade Helix pill? It's naive. Tsunade and Silent on the side looked at Qin Yu with a worried expression. Both of them have seen the power of Daiyu spiral pill, perhaps it works well with ordinary psychic beasts. But if it were used on this huge Yaki Orochi, it might be useless. No matter what they thought, the two of them couldn't think of why Qin Yu would use Daiyu Helix pill to deal with Orochi in Dash pill. Qin Yu smiled slightly, not at all flustered, and said, Daiyu spiral pill won't work, what about this trick? Nani, Orochimaru and Tsunade Silent were all surprised. Could Qin Yu have a stronger trick? When the voice fell, the spiral pill in Qin Yu's hand began to swell. But this time, the spiral pill did not expand to its previous size. The spiral pill was only half the size of the big jade spiral pill, and then stopped. Compared with the size of the larger jade helix pill, the helix pill in Qin Yu's hand is half the size. Everyone was a little confused. Qin Yu wanted to make a name for himself. However, in the next second, Qin Yu increased chakra's output. Om. The harsh sound came from Qin Yu's palms, and it became louder and sharper. As the voice grew louder, the spiral pill in Qin Yu's hand began to lose its roundness. Rather, the edges and corners grew quickly. Soon, the 2 spiral pills became 2 huge chakra shurikens. The 2 shurikens also exude a huge edge. Everyone who sees these 2 shurikens will have a feeling of, whatever it is will be cut in an instant. All the people present, only Silence did not know the power of this technique, but simply believed that there were more chakras performing this technique. But the 2 shadow-level powerhouses, Orochimaru and Tsunade, were different. When they saw this shuriken, they were both shocked. The changes in the form and nature of the wind attribute chakra have been achieved to the extreme. Both Orochimaru and Tsunade were shocked. Both of them were disciples of Doctor of Ninjutsu. Both in the actual combat and theory of ninjutsu, they had stood at the apex of the ninjutsu world. Generally speaking, as long as the chakra changes its shape or its properties, it can be called grade A, such as spiral pill. And the ninjutsu that can change form and change at the same time can be called S-level, such as Rachel. But like Chin-Yu, the extreme changes in form and nature are simply sensational. Such a difficult ninjutsu requires not only precise control over chakra, but also amazing control. The most unacceptable thing is indeed that with such a difficult ninjutsu, Chin-Yu is able to do one hand with one hand and two purposes with one heart. Oda Shiwan, come and taste my spiral pill shuriken. Chin-Yu let out a long scream and flicked his hands vigorously, and the spiral pill shurikens on his left and right hands were already released. Throw it out. Tsunade was stunned when he saw Orochimaru shuriken come out. The boss, who opened his small cherry mouth involuntarily, was obviously shocked. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, even if someone told Tsunade that this kind of ninjutsu could be thrown out, he wouldn't believe it if Tsunade was killed. Nani? Seeing the two helix pill shurikens whizzing, Osh pill suddenly scared the souls. Roar. Yaki Orochi has a very high spirituality, and it feels terrifying power from Chin-Yu's two spiral pill shurikens. The huge body trembled suddenly, and the 8 snake heads roared. However, because the Yachi Orochi was so big, even if he wanted to avoid it, he couldn't avoid it for a while. Coupled with such a big goal, Chin-Yu doesn't need to worry about getting his head straight. No matter how he throws it, he will definitely be able to throw it. Orochimaru shuriken itself is Fungdun ninjutsu, and Fungdun ninjutsu has always been famous for being fast. Before everyone could react, the two huge spiral pill shurikens had already hit the body of the Yachi Orochi. The two helix pill shurikens spun at extreme speed, tearing the body of Yachi Orochi madly. The pouring snake blood began to splash all over the sky, and some even disappeared completely under the cutting of the shuriken. The two helix maru shurikens are fast, one on the left and the right are like two sharp swords, easily cutting off the two heads of the Yachi Orochi. However, after cutting off the snake's head, helix maru shuriken continued to continuously damage the snake's body. Bang! Bang! Two huge and hideous snake heads fell to the ground, and the ground shook slightly. The two snake heads on the ground, the eyes of the snake opened, staring at Chin-Yu tightly, as if staring at him. At the cut of the snake neck where the snake's head was lost, the sticky blood gushed out like two red waterfalls. A huge buzzing sound rang again, and the two spiral pill shurikens swelled again. Orochimaru looked at the two spiral pill shurikens. At this time, it was emitting a dazzling blue light, and his eyes were almost blinded. Bang! The spiral pill shuriken, which swelled to the extreme, exploded in a moment. The power of the explosion is huge, and it is widespread for the Yachi Orochi. Roar! The Yachi Orochi was so severely injured that he roared again and again. Following the roar of anger, the body of Yachi Orochi was still tumbling, and the earth shook for a while. After the dazzling light dissipated, the figure of Yachi Orochi appeared again. It's just that the current Yachi Orochi is no longer as brave and ferocious as just now, but looks extremely miserable. The whole body was covered with scars and blood stains. The original 8 heads were chopped by 2, leaving only 6. The current Yachi Orochi can no longer be called the Yachi Orochi, but can only be called the Luki Orochi. The Orochi Yachi shook because of the constant pain, and the Orochimaru hidden in the Ochi Yachi was also forced to sway. Dashiwan was stunned around the world, and almost got fainting. At this time, Orochimaru has lived up to his previous self-confidence. He didn't expect that after he used the forbidden technique of the Yachi Orochi, he would still be played so miserably by Chin-Yu. Roar! The swaying figure of the Yachi Orochi stopped, and the remaining 6 snake heads raised up to the sky roaring. Chin-Yu, I have to say that you are really good at it. Dashiwan's face was full of complexity. Immediately, Orochimaru's face became cold, and he said in a deep voice, but today, you still have to lose to me. Orochimaru's words fell, and the chakra inside Yachi Osha tumbling violently. In the eyes of everyone's astonishment, the injuries on the body of Yachi Orochi were constantly recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the 2 huge snake heads cut off by Chin-Yu just now are slowly regrowing, constantly recovering. This is the art of Yachi. In other words, this is the most terrifying place of Yachi Orochi. Tsunade, who was behind Chin-Yu, saw the Yachi Orochi who was constantly recovering. His eyes were full of surprise. How could this Yachi art be similar to my own Yin Sealing 100 How art? Haha Chin-Yu, have you seen it, have you seen it? Orochimaru was a little crazy, and somewhat proudly said, this is the art of Ochi, Ochi can recover indefinitely, and it can live forever. As soon as Dashawan finished speaking, he ignored it, and directly controlled Baki Dash and charged towards Chinyu. Looking at the Yaki Orochi who was coming in this direction, Tsunade's expression changed, the situation is a bit uncomfortable now. After resting for such a long time, Tsunade has been relieved and his body has recovered a lot. Base. Seeing Tsunade instantaneously, he came to Chinyu's side, ready to join forces with Chinyu to deal with this Yaki Orochi. However, Chinyu didn't appreciate it. Instead he curled his lips and said, Suna-sama, why are you here again? Are you trying to hold me back again? Kid. Tsunade endured the urge to hammer Chinyu, gritted his teeth and said, you can't deal with it alone. Who said I can't deal with it? Chinyu raised his brows, this was underestimated. However, his indifferent posture was angrily itchy. Since you say that, then I don't bother to care about you. If you want to die, go to die. Tsunade had a bad temper, but now he is completely angry. However, looking at the two people who were fighting each other, Dashiwan laughed and said, Chinyu, I have never seen a guy as arrogant as you. Humph. Tsunade snorted coldly, she didn't look at the two goods pleasing to her eyes. 8 large snake heads of the 8 great snake opened their mouths and bit them towards Chinyu. The hideous Sheku was constantly enlarged in front of Chinyu and Tsunade. Smelly boy, he will do it. Tsunade gritted his teeth bitterly and said, his hands began to form handprints, yin seal. Although Tsunade looked uncomfortable with Chinyu, in this case, no matter how unpleasant to see Chinyu, she would fight with Chinyu and fight side by side. However, just when Tsunade was about to make a move, Chinyu slightly raised his hand and interrupted Tsunade directly. Why are you? Tsunade couldn't help being angry anymore, his face was full of incredible expressions. At this time, it was really too late. Let me take a closer look at the little master, and see how little master I suppressed this bug. Chinyu spoke very calmly, and only then stretched out his palms after speaking. After a long time, Chinyu made a mudra again. Although, there is only one seal. Chinyu's face was rare and serious, his palms overlapped, and the clothes on his body suddenly came up without wind. Seeing Chinyu being so serious, Tsunade swallowed subconsciously. However, in the next moment, an innumerable familiar and extremely cordial force burst forth. Tsunade's pupils shrank suddenly, and he said in shock, this is. It seems to be Grandpa's Mu-dun, but how is this possible? I must have felt wrong. Tsunade was surprised at first, but she quickly denied her guess. In other words, it is difficult for her to accept and believe that speculation. Seeing the chakra surrounding Chinyu getting more and more violent, the chakra air waves overflowing were enough to lift people away. Tsunade, who was standing next to Chinyu, was suddenly startled. How could he have such a powerful chakra? Although Tsunade was not a so-called perception-shaped ninja, he could clearly feel the power of Chinyu's chakra. It feels like, it was as if a head and tail beast was about to start wreaking havoc after earning its seal. Could it be? Is this kid also human Zuli? At this moment, Tsunade had this idea. However, at this time, Chinyu's energy accumulation has been completed. Mu-dun, the technique of the wooden dragon. Chinyu's usual tone is often joking, but now it is very serious. Through the Indian style of folding palms together, Chinyu's accumulated chakras began to merge into the earth, and the earth began to shake. Bang! The earth began to shatter violently. In the shocked eyes of everyone, a huge wooden dragon sprang out from the ground. Although it is only a wooden dragon, the lines on his body are very clear. Among a pair of dragon eyes, there is an immeasurable light. The whole wooden dragon is lifelike, and it is full of strong dragon power. It's as if a real dragon appeared in the world. Big Grandpa. Tsunade's face was full of shock, and tears flashed faintly in his eyes. Since the death of the original Hokage Senjujuma, she has never seen such a tyrannical Mu-dun. I rely on 1,000 defenses, he didn't even prevent him from using a wooden escape. Dashiwan's face was full of horror. Both Orochimaru and Tsunade have deep connections with Mu-dun. Tsunade is because he is Senjujuma's granddaughter. As for Dashiwan, he has studied the cells between the pillars and summoned the soul between the pillars. The intercolumnar cells in Yamato and Tuanzang are the pen of Dashawan. It is because of understanding that Dashawan feels that Mudan is powerful. It was because of knowing that the Konoha destruction plan at that time called the first generation of Naruto Senjujuma. However, the plan at that time was shattered by the same Mudan manipulating Chinyu. And now, this Mudan was used by Chinyu again. Roar! The Mulong rose from the ground, and rushed toward the Orochi. After a few confrontations, Mulong entangled the Orochi firmly. The previous fierce offensive of Orochi came to a halt. Roar! The Orochi who was entangled by the wooden dragon roared up to the sky, and now it was really very angry. It rushed to Chinyu just a few meters away, and it was able to swallow Chinyu in one bite. However, now he was imprisoned by the wooden dragon, unable to move. A short distance of a few meters, but like a moat, it is difficult to cross. Roar! Seeing that the Orochi Baki couldn't move forward, he could only give up his plan to crush Chinyu. The 8 hideous snake heads danced frantically, opening their blood basins and biting them towards the wooden dragon. However, the texture of the wooden dragon is very strong, and the mouth of the Orochi is also difficult to bite. What is even more unacceptable is that the wood dragon's resilience is extremely strong. Even if it is bitten off, it can heal quickly. You know, this ninjutsu was trapped by Kyuubi in the hands of the original Naruto Senjuzuma. The power of the 9 tails was so powerful that it was still pinched to death by the original Naruto Senjuzuma. Although Chinyu is not as good as the original Hokage Chinshozuma at that time, it is not 9 tails who are trapped now. Can the Orochi be compared with the Kyuubi? Obviously, it can't. Therefore, there is no suspense. The Baki Orochi was directly tied up by the wooden dragon and sturdy. This wooden escape secret technique can be said to be one of Chinyu's many cards. Although the wooden escape secret technique he currently masters is not much, it is enough to deal with the 8-chi big snake. At this time, the Orochi broke free more and more. And the chakras needed to maintain the wood dragon technique are also increasing. Faced with this situation, Chinyu did not panic at all. Hooking up the corners of his mouth, keeping his hands folded, quietly activated a certain method. In the next moment, Mulong paused in time. Above the Longan, there was a burst of light. Subsequently, the wooden dragon began to continuously absorb chakra from the body of the Orochi. Roar! Orochi's intelligence is not generally high, and chakra was discovered the moment he was sucked away from his body. The discovery Orochi became even more violent. The head of Orochi turned madly towards the wooden dragon, which was a mad counterattack. Many heads either bite or breathe fire, it's really a trick. Only the middle head didn't move, and the big snake pill, hiding in the snake's head, was full of gloomy anger. Chinyu, Mudan. Dashiwan was full of anger and gritted his teeth when he spoke. Haha, Dashiwan, you should be familiar with this mutton. Chinyu smiled. Ha, boy, what do you mean? Tsunade noticed something was wrong, and his face suddenly changed. Haha, Chinyu smiled. Tsunade-sama, you, a former teammate, have thoroughly studied the cells of the first generation Naruto Senjuju. Without any burden, Chinyu sold Dashiwan directly. Randomly, Chinyu turned his head and said to Dashiwan, the cells on the old thing in Tuanzang, and the guy at the root, these 2 are yours. You. Dashiwan's face changed drastically when he heard the words, and said, Chinyu, I didn't expect that even this was discovered by you. It seems that I really underestimated you. Nani? Tsunade furiously said when he saw Orochimaru confessing on the spot. You crazy fool, you dared to blaspheme even the ancestors. Ha ha. Orochimaru was dismissive of this, and sneered directly. There is also the old thing Danzo, whose paws dare to stretch so long, even my grandfather's cells dare to touch. I think he is tired of living too. Tsunade said bitterly. Although Danzo is the apprentice of the 2nd generation of Hokage, Tsunade doesn't have the slightest affection for him. Don't worry, I have already cut across this old thing Danzang, and now it is estimated that I cannot live or die. Chinyu waved his hand happily. What the hell? Orochimaru and Tsunade were both surprised. The status of Tuanzang in Konoha was well known to the 2 of them, which was quite an outrageous, high, status. Even if Tsunade went back this time, he probably couldn't do anything to this old guy. In other words, even if Chinyu really becomes Hokage, he is unlikely to do anything to Danzo. However, Chin-yu did. It seems that Konoha today has really changed. Tsunade murmured. Chin-yu, I'm really curious, how could you, a Uchiha clan, bear the blood of 1,000 hands? I'm really curious. Orochimaru suddenly changed the conversation. Tsunade was also taken aback when he heard the words, and then stared at Chin-yu closely. Indeed, I forgot this question just now. Mu-dun needs the blood of the 1,000-handed clan to have the bloodline. Chin-yu, as Uchiha, could not have the blood of the 1,000-handed clan. Facing the questioning of Dashuan's soul, Chin-yu seemed to be ready for it a long time ago. Then thank you Dashuan, Chin-yu joked. Dashuan was taken aback. For some reason, Orochimaru felt that something bad was about to happen. What do you mean? Dashuan, have you forgotten that you usually use interpillar cells for experiments? Nani? Orochimaru was startled, and then thought of something. Glancing at Chin-yu, gritted his teeth and said, you want to say that you are the former experimental subject. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, but he didn't expect this to happen. With that said, all this is explained. No. Impossible, when will I have Uchiha's experimental body? Dashiwan did not believe what Chin-yu said. You haven't done it, but there are good partners for your cooperation. Chin-yu happily guided. Orochimaru seemed to have thought of something, and gritted his teeth and said, Danzo, it's you. Really hammered, and Chin-yu fooled this question over. Roar. A grumpy roar sounded. It turned out that as the few people were talking just now, Yaki Orochi became even more violent. Everyone hurriedly saw that it was the Orochi Yaki who was about to break free from the shackles of Mu-dun. Seeing this situation, Dashiwan smiled coldly, and said mockingly, Chin-yu, it seems that Mu-dun hasn't cultivated home yet. Roar. Yaki Orochi roared again. In the next moment, Yaki Orochi was about to break free from the shackles of Mu-dun. Hehe, I don't know where your confidence comes from. Chin-yu responded coldly. Tsunade glanced at Chin-yu beside him, and the corners of his mouth twitched. She wanted to say something at this moment. I don't know how confident you are. Chin-yu suddenly took out the Thunder God's sword and threw it at the Dashuan. However, Chin-yu's operation, in Dashiwan's eyes, did think that he was frustrated. Chin-yu, you shouldn't think that this will pose a threat to me. Dashiwan sneered wildly, seeming a little crazy. I saw him suddenly open his arms, seeming to be welcoming the arrival of the Thunder God's sword. Orochimaru's current state is indeed no longer afraid of swords. He also didn't want to think that at this moment, Chin-yu suddenly threw the Thunder God's sword at him. How could it be just to stab him? At this time, he has been dazzled by power. The Thunder God's sword was thrown out vigorously by Chin-yu, extremely fast. Within a short while, Thor's sword came near the main head of Yaki Orochi. Whoosh! In the next moment, Chin-yu's figure suddenly disappeared in the same place, and instantly appeared above the Thunder God's sword. This is the art of flying Thunder God. Chin-yu's feet fluttered lightly on the sword, and once again took advantage of his strength to fly into the air. Nani? Orochimaru was startled. The strength suddenly became stronger, causing Orochimaru to lose his mind just now. It was only now that I realized that Chin-yu could fly the technique of Thunder God. Although it reacted, Dashiwan didn't panic, but sneered. Because in his opinion, Chin-yu's actions were completely self-catching. Not only Orochimaru thinks so, but Tsunade also thinks so. Sure enough, Yaki Orochi, who was attacking the wood dragon frantically, suddenly saw his enemy close in front of him, and he was furious for a while. It was extremely angry with Chin-yu, and directly gave up on the wooden dragon. Several snake heads shook for a while, turned their direction, and opened their mouths towards Chin-yu. Chin-yu, be careful. Tsunade, who was standing in the distance, was suddenly startled. After all, in her opinion, Chin-yu was in the air and there was no place to take advantage of it. Facing the attack of the Uchi Orochi, he was clearly in crisis. However, she didn't know how to fly Thor's time and space ninjutsu, and she couldn't do it directly if she wanted to rescue her. However, Chin-yu smiled coldly at this. A reptile, dare to be presumptuous in front of the little master. In the next second, Chin-yu grabbed his left wrist with his right hand, and his left hand was showing tiger claws, and he poked out towards the front. A magical power surged in his palm, and a mysterious, za, suddenly appeared in his palm. Guoan enters Yan Chisho. Give me the town. With Qin Yu's loud shout, Shu's power was completely activated. The original violent Heichi Orochi froze in an instant, and froze in a daze. This ninjutsu can quell even a complete 9 tails, let alone such a big snake. The wooden dragon, which had been torn apart by the Yaki Orochi, also slowed down at this time. Chakra, who had absorbed the Oki Orochi, quickly recovered, and once again restrained the Oki Orochi firmly. At this time, Mulong once again extracted a large amount of chakras from Baki Orochi and supplied them to Qin Yu. Orochimaru looked at the Yaki Oro snake that was completely healed, and her whole body trembled for a while. It wasn't a tremor of excitement, or a tremor of fear, it was a tremor of anger. Orochimaru desperately knotted her fingerprints, trying to reawaken Yaki Oro, even resisting the shackles of the wooden dragon. The result is completely useless. The big snake pill, who had recovered, looked at Qin Yu with a shocked face. What kind of ninjutsu Qin Yu had just performed? This ninjutsu is so terrifying. Ha! Qin Yu smiled coldly and stretched out his right hand. Stabbed. There was a thunder, and a dazzling silver light gathered in Qin Yu's palm, turned into a spear, and threw it towards the big snake pill. Whoosh! The thunder and lightning spear pierced the air, and in an instant it pierced the body of Da Shi Wan. Orochimaru was hit by a thunder and lightning spear, and it was pierced instantly, and his body was directly broken. However, the Orochimaru who has performed the Heichi art now has an unusual body. The body that was pierced and torn, recovered in a blink of an eye. Obviously, the immunity of the Heichi art, the Orochimaru as the operator also enjoys this ability. Qin Yu, what can you do to me, who has performed the Heichi technique? Da Shi Wan sneered, and said arrogantly, when Yaki Dashi wakes up, he will break free from your wooden dragon again. At that time, you still have to die. Idiot people say dreams. Qin Yu sneered. Up to now, Da Shi Wan is still daydreaming. Qin Yu shook his head, Fei Lei Shen displayed his figure and disappeared in the air. After that, he appeared by Tsunade's side through the thunder god's mark on Tsunade's body. Tsunade looked at Yaki Oro, his face full of anxiety. What are you going to do? Obviously, Tsunade has passed the performance of Yachi Orochi just now, and now he has no compromises. At this time, the Yachi Orochi, who had been put under the control of Guan into the Yan Chisho, also slowly recovered. Roar! Roaring to the sky, he then began to break free from the shackles of the wooden dragon again, attempting to break through the shackles and gain freedom. It's just a reptile, and I'm afraid he won't be able to turn the sky over. Qin Yu smiled coldly. Afterwards, Qin Yu folded his hands again. A huge chakra surged in Qin Yu's body again, and then began to accumulate. Under Tsunade's surprised gaze, Qin Yu's Mudun power became even stronger. Bang! The earth began to tremble again, and compared to the previous tremor, the amplitude was now relatively greater. Feeling the vibration of the ground, Tsunade's fist clenched unconsciously, obviously a little bit nervous and expectant. As for Dashawan, she was also very nervous at this time. Qin Yu used Mudun Mulong when he was doing this for the first time. The movement now is bigger than before, obviously it is another powerful ninjutsu. What will it be this time? Tsunade muttered expectantly. Feeling the power of Mudun, she felt cordial. At this time, the chakra in Qin Yu's body seemed to have almost accumulated, and he sighed softly, Mudun the art of bagging. Boom! This time the ground shaking was not in front of Qin Yu, but around Baki Orochi. The earthquake trembled and then cracked. Dozens of large wooden hands broke through from the ground, and then violently patted the Yaki Orochi without a lot of trouble. Roar! Under the control of Qin Yu, the big wooden hand aimed at the head of Yaki Orochi very precisely. With the blessing of Qin Yu's powerful chakra, Mudun's big hands are very fast. The Orochi was bound by the wooden dragon itself, so Qin Yu's wooden big hand easily grabbed Orochi by the head. Roar! Heichi Orochi roared furiously, and was immediately suppressed directly on the ground by Qin Yu's big wooden hand. However, all snake heads were suppressed, but the main head was not suppressed. The main head possesses the strongest power and the fastest speed, which escaped the fate of being suppressed. Da Shi Wan's face was very ugly. How could he think that it's all like this? Qin Yu can still be like this. He unexpectedly has other whole cards to deal with Yaki Orochi. What makes Orochimaru even more uncomfortable is that such a powerful ninjutsu requires a huge chakra. However, Chin-Yu, a little devil, was able to cope with the loss of chakra. Plus how old he is now. When I thought of this, Dashiwan's scalp became numb. At this age, with this level of ninjutsu and chakra's reserve food, is this going to heaven? Drink. Chin-Yu kept his hands folded, and with a long drink, chakra suddenly increased again. Boom. Several roars sounded, and the ground vibrated again. The three big wooden hands broke through the ground again and grabbed the main head of Yaki Orochi. Bad. Dashiwan realized that Chin-Yu's three big wooden hands were not good. Although I realized it, my reaction was slow. And Chin-Yu was cruel at this time, and the chakra inside his body was injected even more desperately. The three huge wooden hands, under the blessing of Chin-Yu's chakra, surged wildly. With the three big hands encircled, the main head of the Yaki Orochi has no place to hide. It can be said that there is nowhere to escape. Boom, boom, boom. The snake head, which had always been proud and independent, was ruthlessly slapped on the ground by Chin-Yu's three big wooden hands. And it's a very continuous three-shot. The head of the main snake of the Yaki Orochi was slapped on the ground by a large wooden hand, and a large amount of dust was splashed. As for the Dashiwan hiding in the snake's head, it followed the snake's head directly and was photographed on the ground. Wow! Yachi Orochi was suppressed with Orochimaru, and suddenly became furious. A low roar, and then began to break free frantically. However, the break free of Yaki Orochi can be said to be doing useless work. Mu-Dun's wood dragon art and the art of all bags are both high-level Mu-Dun ninjutsu. Under the suppression of these two high-level wooden ninjutsu, Yaki Orochi wanted to break free, completely daydreaming. Click. Chin-Yu's gesture changed, and he started to control Mulong with all his strength. Under Chin-Yu's control, Mulong began to explode to extract the chakra from the Yaki Orochi. Since there is no need to separate the mind to suppress the Yaki Orochi now, the wooden dragon can do its best to extract the chakra. The chakra extraction speed under full power is more than 3 times faster than the previous extraction speed. Chakra was madly drawn by the wooden dragon. Although the Yaki Orochi was angry, he was helpless. Now it can't do anything, it can only be obediently at the mercy of others. Shri. Shreko 1. Looking at Chin-Yu who was so powerful, Tsunade and Silent swallowed at the same time. Obviously, the two of them were shocked by Chin-Yu's operation just now. Ah! The face of Dashiwan, who was suppressed on the ground, turned into pig liver color because of anger. After finally getting out of Mu-Dun's suppression, he stretched out an arm so hard that he couldn't move at all. But this is also normal. After all, even Yaki Orochi can only honestly be suppressed by ninjutsu. How can he break free? Dashiwan became a little desperate. In a sense, Yaki Orochi is his body. Therefore, he can clearly feel the situation of Yaki Orochi. In the current Yaki Orochi, the chakra in his body is being drawn frantically. It is estimated that it will not be long before the Yaki Orochi will be drawn into a dry snake by Chin-Yu. Once it reaches that point, Orochimaru can already imagine how miserable his end will be. Through many fights with Chin-Yu, Dashiwan has gained some knowledge of Chin-Yu. Although Chin-Yu was young, his threat was the greatest. Not only is ninjutsu strong, but the mind is like a demon, by no means a good kind. Now, he is now in the Jedi. If that's the case, then you can only do one thing forever. Dashiwan's flushed face began to become crazy and hideous. Chin-Yu, you forced me to die. Since you want me to die, then you can bury me too. The voice of Orochimaru was filled with endless resentment, which spread through the isolated wooden escape. Ha ha. Facing the bitterness of Dashiwan, Chin-Yu smiled coldly. The Dashiwan now has been squeezed to death by himself, and Chin-Yu couldn't think of what other tricks the Dashiwan could make. Seeing Chin-Yu's face full of disdain, Tsunade felt uneasy for some reason. Chin-Yu, be careful. Tsunade said with a solemn expression. Orochimaru is a complete lunatic. I doubt he has any whole cards yet. As soon as he finished speaking, Tsunade's anxiety became stronger. Boom. There was a strange noise. I saw that the Yaki Orochi who was suppressed by Mu-Dun suddenly became very violent in his body. As chakra became extremely violent, Yaki Orochi's body began to swell. And the speed of this expansion is getting faster and faster. Seeing this, Tsunade came to understand. Chin-yu, it seems that Dashawan is going to control Yaki Dash to explode. Chin-yu twitched the corners of his mouth, and wanted to complain about her, mad, labor and capital or not blind. It's so obvious, needless to say, I can see it too. Although Chin-yu thought so, he did not say. He was afraid that after he had said it, Tsunade would punch himself abruptly, that would be a big loss. Chin-yu, I know you know space-time ninjutsu. But don't forget, where is this place? No matter what, someone will bury me with it. At the last time, Dashiwan did not forget his madness. The Yaki Orochi is inherently spiritual and has a strong desire to survive, so it is impossible for it to explode on its own initiative. Obviously, this self-destructive choice was the work of Dashimaru. Boom! A tyrannical wave began to vibrate, and even the space began to be distorted under this vibration. Bang! However, within a second, a huge explosion rang out. Although several people are far apart, they can still feel this extremely violent power. Once such a huge force is completed, it is estimated that the entire short book street will be razed to the ground in an instant. How could this be? Mute's face was full of tension when he saw this situation for the first time. Obviously, he did not expect that this meeting would eventually evolve into this. But even if he knew it, what could he do with the power of silence? Dashawan. Tsunade clenched his fists and gritted his teeth and said, how come he has become like this now? His heart is so vicious, and he wants to take so many people to bury him with him. Although Tsunade was one of the 3 ninjas and was used to seeing big scenes, it was the first time I saw such scenes. Now she is also a little panicked. In the midst of such a violent explosion, I am afraid that it can only be turned into ashes on the spot. As for all his current whole cards, such as the Yin Seal, or the technique of the 100 heroes, all of them are useless. Under an explosion of this scale, even cells can evaporate instantly. The cells are gone, and the wool is regenerated. Feeling helpless, Tsunade subconsciously looked at Chin-yu beside him. In such a desperate situation, Tsunade wanted to know what the man next to him could do. As a result, looking at Chin-yu's expression, it turned out to be a little weird. Is there nothing he can do? Tsunade frowned, feeling a little depressed. At this time, Tsunade thought that Chin-yu was still entangled in whether to run away. Actually otherwise, Chin-yu is now mobilizing chakra in his body. Chin-yu dashed forward and then stopped Tsunade and silent behind him. Chin-yu. Tsunade was startled. At this time, it was too late for him to stop it. Facing this sky full of explosions, Chin-yu's expression became more serious than ever. Holding the sword of Thor, placing the blade on his left hand, and then chanting the spell silently, the chakra inside his body also violently walked away. Tsunade looked at Chin-yu's behavior, but also inexplicably. Rao was a Sanrin, but he also couldn't see what Chin-yu wanted to do. Even if the Thunder God's sword is a divine sword, under this kind of explosion, it is estimated that it can only be blown to pieces. However, at the next moment, Chin-yu's body suddenly appeared a magical power. Show me. Chin-yu pointed the Thunder God's sword toward the sky above the explosion, and a mark of Sword of Forbearance floated on the body of the sword, and then the light was bright. Immediately afterwards, in the void in front of Chin-yu, a huge sorcerer pattern suddenly appeared. The pattern is engraved with densely packed rune warlocks, and each rune and warlock is very mysterious. Ordinary people, let alone understand, will feel dizzy even at the first glance. As for the center of the pattern, there is a very dark black hole, as if it can swallow everything. The invisible devouring power began to explode, but the explosion of the Yaki Orochi's self-detonation was gradually swallowed by the black hole. The explosion was swallowed by the black hole little by little, and finally disappeared completely. Looking at this scene, both Tsunade and Silent were surprised. The eyes of the two of them were filled with incredible expressions. They never expected that Chin-yu would perform such a large-scale space-time ninjutsu. What's more terrifying is that Chin-yu actually succeeded. After the black hole of the warlock completely absorbed the explosion, Chin-yu quickly turned the Thunder God's sword in his hand and quickly pointed it at the distant mountain forest. Boom! There was a loud noise, the earth shook for a while, and a strong explosion broke out in the mountain forest. Although far away, everyone can still feel the ultimate destructive power. How is this possible? After the catastrophe, the silence of the rest of his life, looked at the explosion in the distance in shock, and said blankly, "Such a powerful explosion, so it was transferred. Is this the space technique of Heifeng Water Gate?" Tsunade squinted at the explosion, and thought secretly. Tsunade is one of the 3 ninjutsu, her knowledge is extraordinary, and after a little thought, she thinks of the space-time ninjutsu. Because only the mysterious time and space ninjutsu can have this ability. When the explosion subsided, everyone was shocked to find that a deep pit nearly 100 meters in diameter appeared in the original mountain forest under the bombing of the explosion. Obviously, this was caused by the big explosion just now. Such a powerful destruction was already caused by a tail beast jade. And it's not just a tail beast jade, at least 3 or 4 tail beast jade explodes together to achieve this result. By the way, Chin Yu, the guy with glasses called Do, took the opportunity to run away. Tsunade said lightly. Chin Yu shrugged his shoulders, completely indifferent. For Chin Yu, the pharmacist pocket is an important chess piece in the future. Killing him now is as easy as squeezing an ant, which is totally meaningless. Seeing Chin Yu's posture, Tsunade couldn't help feeling a little angry. Since Chin Yu is like this, he still cares what he is doing, he is really troublesome. Ha! Are you really saved? Silent clutched his chest, panting heavily. Mute was really shocked by the shock just now. Although Chin Yu moved the explosion in time, she still feels unreal until now. In the previous days, she was accompanied by Tsunade's gambling all over the world, or simply said, "Send money." Although she has always advised Tsunade, "I hope she can return to the village and sit down." But she didn't expect that Tsunade's first show would be such a big battle. The situation just now can be said to be very dangerous, and I can almost turn myself into a fly ash. After the scene just now, Mute also has a new understanding of this ninja world. She began to feel awe of the ninja world, and then she was a little nostalgic for her previous life of giving money. Looking at what you did just now, it seems that the old man's vision is okay. Tsunade said lightly. HMPH, let's just use you, Xiao Yi, I have the protagonist halo. Chin Yu smiled confidently. Tsunade and Silent's mouth twitched slightly when Tsunade and Silent heard the words. This is the rhythm that is going to drift. By the way, Chin Yu, when are you going to help me reincarnate from the dirty soil? Tsunade asked suddenly. It's a pity that the 2 people who originally planned to use them as sacrifices are now gone. This matter is really a bit troublesome. From Tsunade's point of view, he ran away, and he didn't know where he was now. Dashawan blew herself up just now, and with the explosion just now, Dashawan has also become ashes. She couldn't think of it. As she ran away, Dashiwan would be able to come back soon. So there is no so-called gray ash at all, it's all blindfolds. Chin Yu shrugged. You have to figure out how to handle the sacrifices. You're ashamed to say, I'll blame you. Tsunade said angrily, if you didn't push too hard, Orochimaru would not have thought of exploding. This can blame me, this can also blame me. Chin Yu was a little speechless, the logic of this woman is really terrible. However, even if there are sacrifices, I still don't recommend that you do that. Chin Yu said suddenly. Why? Tsunade asked, frowning. Her complexion didn't change very well at this moment, thinking that Chin Yu was lying to her just now. Chin Yu shrugged his shoulders, and said leisurely, the name of the technique is reincarnation of filthy land, which is to summon dead souls from pure land back to filthy land. Do you think this is a good thing? This is just a way to play with the soul. I once saw your grandfather and second grandfather reincarnated in dirty soil, so I know that their souls are suffering. Tsunade's expression darkened, and he couldn't help falling into thought. After a long time, she raised her head. I'll talk about this later. Tsunade said lonely. No problem. Chin Yu nodded. It looks like the matter here is over, so let's go first. Chin Yu was about to slip away immediately. As far as Chin Yu is concerned, this trip to the short book street has been very complete. Not only did it hit the Orochimaru again, but also saw his current level of strength. After clearly understanding, Chin Yu didn't want to stay here at all now. He just wants to fly back home and continue to play with everyone. Wait, seeing Chin Yu about to run, Tsunade hurriedly interrupted him. Why did you come here suddenly? You haven't explained the reason to me yet. The scene of the fight just now was so big that Tsunade had forgotten this crucial question. Ah, Chinyu scratched his head, also stunned. How to explain this? Is it possible to tell her directly that I know that Orochimaru will appear here, so I came here specially? Who believes such nonsense? With his eyes rolling, Chinyu suddenly thought of a way. Actually, I specially came to see you, Tsunade-sama, to ask some questions. Chinyu asked pretendingly mysteriously. Huh, what do you want to ask? Tsunade was a little confused when he saw Chinyu's sudden appearance. Chinyu looked around, then hooked his finger at Tsunade. Tsunade didn't think much about it, and just bent his ears curiously. Furthermore, his left hand was directly on Chinyu's shoulder. I actually want to ask you. Chinyu deliberately lowered his voice and asked. When Chinyu spoke, energetic hit Tsunade's earlobe directly, giving her a strange feeling directly. What do you want to ask? Tsunade asked suspiciously. Is it true? Chinyu said without beginning or end. Ah, what did you say? Tsunade was stunned by Chinyu's endless sentence. Here, this is it. As Chinyu spoke, he grabbed his hand in front of him as he could not hide his ears and steal the bell. The silence on the side was still uncomfortable. The two whispered quietly with their backs to her, so they were very curious what they were talking about. Suddenly seeing this scene in front of him, the boss whose mouth opened suddenly. At this moment, time seems to freeze. Oh my god, what did I see? This guy. How dare you? Silence swallowed hard. Chapter 51. Mute at this moment, I foresee a storm is coming. Princess Tsunade, who was personally canonized by the Daimyo no Kuni, is the only female ninja among Konoha Sannin. No matter in terms of status or strength, it is impossible for anyone to dare to treat her like this. Together with the lascivious immortal who came for Sannin, it was just a peeping, and in the end it was still a miserable lesson. Unexpectedly, nowadays, a little devil would dare to do such a bold thing. This is simply disrespectful. As for Chinyu, who was the initiator of the attack on the ball, at this moment, only words like this appeared in his mind, okay. Chinyu didn't know why Tsunade attributed it to size, and even what letter should be used to categorize it, according to his hometown statement. But after all, there are now two words, prickly excited, cool. As for Tsunade as the innocent victim, at this moment, he was completely stunned. Although the current Princess Tsunade is middle-aged, she has to be said that she is still a big girl. So many years have passed, but no one has dared to be so presumptuous in front of her. No one dared to make such a move in front of her. So Tsunade didn't even react for a while. When she shook her head and woke up from the blindness, her white cheeks quickly stained with red clouds. It was red all the way to the base of the neck. Immediately afterwards, Chinyu felt that the body temperature in front of him rose sharply. A feeling called danger began to appear in his heart. Tsunade yelled, making a fist with his right hand, and suddenly hammering down from the air. As the hammer fell, he shouted, "My old lady's advantage, you also take advantage of it. I think you want to die." Ah, the silence on the side held his forehead, and said silently, "This kind of thing, I don't know what you are yelling at." But now Tsunade and Chinyu didn't have time to talk to him. Tsunade's punch was not only heavy, but also accompanied by the sound of holes. If Chinyu was hit by this hammer, it is estimated that he would not only lose his appearance but also be seriously injured. However, in the face of such a dangerous move, Chinyu did not panic. Chinyu Feng Sao's eyebrows were raised at Tsunade, and a seal was quickly formed in his hand. After leaving only one sentence, Chinyu was nowhere to be seen. Thank you, Tsunade-sama, I already know it's true." Bang! Tsunade's angry fist with a strange force didn't beat Chinyu, but it vented directly to the ground. The poor earth needs to help Chinyu. Under Tsunade's strange power fist, a huge pit appeared in the earth instantly. Around the huge crater, countless cracks began to spread out, reaching far, far away. Looking at Chinyu, who was no longer a trace, and the broken ground, Tsunade stomped angrily. "Tsunade-sama, are you okay?" Silent asked timidly. When I asked, Mute still had a feeling of lingering fear. "What can I do with my mother?" Tsunade replied angrily. Although it was casually replied. But now he has been thinking of Chinyu, this stinky kid. I kept muttering in my mouth, "You wait for my old lady." Looking at Tsunade, who was still in a rage, Silent swallowed his saliva and asked, "Tsunade-sama, now?" "Now." Tsunade directly waved his hand and said, "Wei Konoha." "Sure enough, continue to gamble." Silent curled his lips dissatisfied. Just after speaking, he reacted immediately. "What are you talking about? Back to Konoha? Are you serious, Tsunade-sama?" Silence now feels like dreaming, a bit in the mist. Originally, it was her task to persuade Tsunade to return to Konoha to become Sannin again. But for so many years, for how long, she has been unsuccessful. Unexpectedly, Tsunade was able to change his mind when the kid Chinyu appeared like this today. However, Silent didn't know that Tsunade had his own plans. First of all, because the phobia Tsunade is already healed, now she no longer needs to evade reality through broken lives and dreams. She is now able to return to Konoha, be one of her Konoha 3 ninjas, and continue to tremble the world of Konoha. The second is Tsunade, who is full of curiosity about this Chinyu. She wanted to return to Konoha to find out what kind of idiot Chinyu is. Of course, Chinyu naturally had nothing for Tsunade's decision. Even if he knew it, Chinyu didn't care. After all, this time his purpose was not to find Tsunade. It was a lecherous immortal's business to find Tsunade, what to do with himself. Therefore, after Chinyu had carefully checked the authenticity of the ball, just now, he left a super long-distance flying thunder god. As for the coordinates, it is at home. At home, Chinyu remembered the spatial coordinates. Konoha village, Chinyu's home. Shi Raihong now lives in Chinyu's house completely. Now although she is cooking, she is a little absent-minded. Chinyu's figure kept reappearing in her mind, causing her to almost cut her hand several times. Whoosh! A breaking wind suddenly sounded behind her. The next moment, Shi Raihong felt that she had entered a warm and powerful embrace. Feeling the unique breath behind him, after in-depth exchanges before, even if you don't have to look back, Shi Raihong knows who is coming. Suddenly, her white cheeks turned red, and Shi Raihong became a little shy. At this moment, she enjoys this kind of warm support. "Why did you come back suddenly?" Shi Raihong asked with some surprise. When Chinyu left before, it was very sudden. He thought it would be long before he saw Chinyu, and he was still a little lost in his heart. But now we meet again, this is too sudden. Chinyu hugged Shi Raihong, raised his eyebrows and asked, "Is it okay for me to come back suddenly?" Following Chinyu's words, the enthusiasm hit Shi Raihong's ears directly. Yurihong suddenly felt a strange feeling in her heart, closed her eyes, and muttered, "Okay, of course." She is enjoying the feeling now, beautiful and quiet. A two-person world with only two people. But someone is a little restless and has other thoughts. Seeing Chinyu smiled, a princess hugged him and hugged Shi Raihong. "Ah, what are you doing? I'm still cooking," Shi Raihong screamed when she was held in her arms by Chinyu. Chinyu smiled and said, "You can cook anytime." Shiri blushed and glared at Chinyu. Chinyu hugged Shi Raihong and walked directly onto the bed. Immediately afterwards, the nervous and stimulating flying chess began. Early the next morning, Shi Raihong was about to get up to make breakfast, and suddenly found herself struggling to stand up. God knows how long the two played flying chess all night last night. Don't ask me, although I am the author, I don't know. Humph! Shi Raihong snorted and hammered Chinyu, who was asleep on the bed, and said, "It's all to blame you." Chinyu woke up leisurely after being hammered by Shi Raihong. Looking unscrupulously at Shi Raihong, Chinyu felt that Shi Raihong seemed to have more flavor. Suddenly, I couldn't help but plan to start flying chess in the morning. "Ah, let me go." Shi Raihong begged for mercy on the spot. "I still have a mission, so let me go." "Huh," Chinyu asked with a dazed expression, "Isn't today Sunday? Still using tasks? Isn't it a weekend? You think we can be like you on Shinobu?" Shi Raihong nodded, Chinyu's head slightly annoyed. Especially the current Konoha, which has been damaged, is now working overtime to recover. Chinyu sighed and said, "It's really troublesome." As soon as he finished speaking, Chinyu was a little bit entertained again. "Fortunately, when I came back, I didn't go to the main entrance, otherwise I would be dragged by the third generation of Hokage to do free coolies. You are comfortable, Shiraihong said a little irritably. Shiraihong said to Chinyu with some discussion. Just let me go, and when I come back tonight, let's play flying chess together. No, I refuse. Chinyu directly shook his head and disagreed. Just kidding, this kind of flying chess has to wait till night, just kidding. Chinyu suddenly thought of something as his eyes rolled round and round. With a light wave of his right hand, with a bang, a shadow clone suddenly appeared. The shadow clone. Looking at the shadow clone that suddenly appeared, Shiraihong was a little unclear. Boom, the white smoke blew up, and Chinyu's shadow clone turned into a red sunset in a blink of an eye. This is. Looking at the fake in front of him, Shiraihong immediately thought of something, and asked in amazement, you don't want to? Chinyu directly admitted and nodded, and said, it's what you think. Will there be a problem with this? Shiraihong asked with some worry. After all, it was the first time to do this kind of thing, and she had no bottom in her heart. It's on, Chinyu said confidently. That old man can't see it. Don't worry. Shiraihong was a little speechless. That is, you dare to do this, and it doesn't matter. Looking at the whole Konoha, who would dare to do something like you? Why do you have to do this? Shiraihong said with a blushing face. Of course, I don't want you to work too hard. Chinyu just said nonsense. Hearing this, Shiraihong made a soft bah directly, and the expression on his face clearly said, I believe you are a ghost. Otherwise, Chinyu raised his eyebrows with a smirk on his face. You bad guy. Shiraihong's face was covered with red clouds. Chinyu waved his hand, and the toolman Shiraihong disappeared in the room. The shadow clone, isn't it just a tool man? As for the main body, I continue to have an in-depth discussion of flying chess in the room. Of course, other people were summoned by Chinyu during this period. A tense and irritating multiplayer flying chess game will begin soon. This is something later. After leaving the room, the tool man, Shiraihong, came to the Hokage tower full of resentment. As Konoha's new ninja, Yuhihong is also a famous beauty ninja. Konoha's attention is naturally not ordinary. However, today's evening read as a change of the previous impression in everyone's eyes. The beauty ninja, who has always been known for her beauty and coldness, not only does not have the charm that she should have as a beauty, but reveals, wild and unruly. Yes, it is wild and unruly. Not only walking arrogantly, but also exuding an aura of wanting to go to heaven invisibly. After arriving at the door of the Hokage office, toolman Shiraihong took a deep breath, then opened the door and walked in. The office is as lively as ever, and many ninjas are busy handing over tasks. As for the Hokage, Sarutobi Risen was sitting at his desk, dealing with documents a little bit burnt. He was already old, and coupled with the previous Konoha rebellion, the old man had already hurt his roots, and he had become more old at this time. Suddenly, Sarutobi Risen raised his head with feeling, and saw Konoha Shinobu Yurihong. Seeing Yurihong, Sarutobi Risen's eyes were a little complicated. Faced with the woman in front of him, Sarutobi Hazaki has always been very satisfied. Thinking that she will become her own daughter-in-law is a sure thing. Whoever thinks, Chinyu will be killed directly in the middle, and he will be cut off in such a fair and upright manner. After pondering for a moment, Sarutobi Hizen decided to speak directly. When he gets older, he can't manage young people's affairs. Being cut off can only say that his son Sarutobi Asma is a trash, and a good wife can be thrown away. It was a shame to the Sarutobi family. The third generation of Naruto Sarutobi shook his head, and said nothing. I directly picked a task for Shiraihong, and then asked her to take a few Zongren to perform the task. Seeing Sarutobi Risen, he didn't have much thoughts this time, and the toolman Yurihong also smiled secretly. In the days that followed, as a toolman, Shiraihong began to go out on missions every day, living a life without human rights. As for the main body, it is nestled at home every day, playing multiplayer flying chess in a different way every day. The tool man was also stabbed excited by the body, and when he was extremely depressed, he sent all the anger on his body to the ninja of the enemy country. One can imagine how miserable the enemy will be. Even the ninja who followed the tool Yurihong on a mission together was shocked to see. Fear is scared, and there is no such thing as foolish. That morning, Haruno Sakura, who hadn't appeared for a long time, was spotted on Konoha's recliner. And this discovery gave her a sense of existence abruptly. Afterwards, a shocking news spread into the Hokage office. Sasuke Uchiha, one of the only two remaining members of the destroyed Uchiha clan, defected to Konoha Shinobu last night. Moreover, according to Konoha's guards, Konoha's barrier has not been destroyed, but there are traces of enemy actions around the barrier. As soon as the news came out, the 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi, who had always been a good man, were also angry. He lifted the table on the spot with anger. After the occurrence of this kind of thing, Sarutobi Hazaki remembered that Kakashi had told himself not long ago. As Konoha's rebel, the purpose of Orochimaru came to the village. Combined with the current Sasuke defecting, various actions outside his own village. Sarutobi Risen feels that he can do a real hammer now, and this matter has nothing to do with Orochimaru. Regarding this guy's previous death, Sarutobi Hitoshi didn't believe it very much either. For his apprentice, is he unclear about what he is capable of? Obviously, he is still very clear about his apprentice. That is a dangerous person who does everything in order to achieve his goals. There was a sharp flash in Sarutobi's eyes, and he murmured, "It's really a ghost." After saying that, Sarutobi Hazaki suddenly thought of Itachi, Uchiha Itachi. The young man who was willing to slaughter his family for the sake of Konoha's overall situation. Thinking of the promise he had made with Uchiha Itachi, Sarutobi Hazumi suddenly felt guilty in his heart. Itachi Uchiha sacrificed everything for Konoha and dedicated it to Konoha. And as the only condition, that is to allow his own brother Uchiha Sasuke to live well. However, now his younger brother, Uchiha Sasuke, who he cared about most, defected. However, the most critical and deadly thing is that the defection turned out to lean towards Orochimaru. When Sarutobi Risen thought of Dashawan, his heart shuddered. He picked up the pipe in his hand and took a smoke. Sarutobi murmured guiltily, "Itachi, I am sorry for you, and Konoha is sorry for you." After smoking a few puffs, Sarutobi Hizen seemed to have made up his mind to call someone. However, thinking about it, I don't know who is better to call. After the Konoha turmoil last time, Konoha is now waiting to go, and the ninjas are not enough. Originally I wanted to be called Chinyu, but the fool body didn't know where he was recently, and he couldn't find any figure. After sifting through the layers, Rizin had no choice but to choose Shikamaru. After Shikamaru came to Hokage's office, he saw Sarutobi Hitoshi with a serious face. Immediately, Sarutobi Hizen briefly explained the task to Shikamaru. "Shikamaru, you also know the current situation of Konoha. At present, there is no staff above Zongnin who can dispatch you," Sarutobi Hitazumi said with a serious face. "But if you are below Nakanin, you can make arrangements by yourself. As long as you can bring Sasuke back, you can just take everyone away, understand?" When Sarutobi Hizen finished speaking last, his voice was very solemn. Seeing this situation, Shikamaru also felt a headache, and he wanted to say something. "What, do you have any questions?" Sarutobi Hizen asked. "The problem is not a problem, but I think it would be better to hand Chinyu to this kind of thing," Shikamaru whispered. As soon as he finished speaking, Shikamaru added, "The two are of the same race, and in terms of Chinyu's strength, he alone is enough, and he doesn't need so many people at all. Do you think I don't know how to look for him? If I can find him, where will I look for you?" Sarutobi Hitoshi said inwardly. "Although I thought so in my heart, I couldn't say that on my lips. That kid can't count on it anymore. You don't have to waste time looking for him at his house. No one else is in Konoha." Shikamaru couldn't help but directly reported the foul language. Under the ruthless reality, Shikamaru had to accept this task. Seeing that the matter was finalized, Sarutobi said directly with a big wave of his hand, "Hurry up and get ready, and set off in an hour." Seeing Shikamaru's helpless back, the 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi can't help feeling, "What a good boy." Then I thought of Chinyu, feeling indignantly, "Chinyu, this fool is not there at this time, really." The current situation has deviated from the original. Due to Chinyu's disorderly entry, Dashuin's plan was destroyed many times, so he directly advanced Sasuke's abduction plan. In the original work, Tsunade started abduction after reaching Konoha, and it is now directly ahead of schedule. And this abduction plan, in order to ensure the success of the plan, Dashiwan can be said to be the best. In this shot, Orochimaru almost dispatched all the ninjas from Odonin village, instead of just sending out the 5 Odonin people in the original work. Although Orochimaru has made changes, isn't Konoha? No, because of Chinyu's intervention, Konoha is much better than the original. Because of the rise of Chinyu, the original Konoha, 12 Xiaoqiang, are all Alexanders. Under the pressure, everyone began to practice desperately, so their strength is now even stronger. Because of Chinyu's intervention, many of the negative influences that should have been turned into positive influences. Under these conditions, Shikamaru's tracing plan has no pressure. Except for Sasuke who defected, and Naruto from the village, all the other top 10 were assembled. Afterwards, under the leadership of the Captain Shikamaru, a 10-man team left the village in a mighty pursuit. As for Chinyu, he is still playing flying chess in his own home. Although this time the staff is all ready, and Konoha 10 Xiaoqiang has become stronger. But this time, the enemies of Odonin village were all elite, and Shikamaru led the team to pursue it, and it was not easy. Especially for Haruno Sakura, who was given the nickname, Drag Oil Bottle, the team almost died out several times. Fortunately, she was alone, everyone else was normal, and Shikamaru's brain advantage finally stabilized the situation. In this way, the personnel from both sides chased and fled, and the fighting was in full swing. At this moment, the 4 figures came to Konoha's gate from far to near. These 4 people are Tsunade, Silent, Jiraiya, and Uzumaki Naruto. As for why these 4 people came back together suddenly, there is a reason. Originally, under the leadership of Jiraiya, Naruto followed Jiraiya to practice Helix Pill while drawing materials, and his speed was naturally very slow. But what the 2 of them never expected was that they encountered Tsunade and Silent, who were returning on the way. At that moment, Jiraiya was completely confused. Upon asking, Yi knew that Chinyu had already been to Duanchu Street, and at the same time, when he learned about the resurrection of Dashiwan, he was shocked at that time. But now that the matter has been resolved, Tsunade is willing to go back to the village, and Joraji is also naturally happy. In this way, Jiraiya followed Tsunade to silence the 2 and returned to the village together. Looking at the village in front of him, Tsunade clearly felt a bit sentimental, and he was suddenly embarrassed. As soon as the group of 4 arrived at Konoha's door, Onbi had already arrived at the Hokage office and reported to Sarutobi. In order to keep Tsunade in Konoha this time, Sarutobi Hizen also came to Konoha's door and greeted him personally. Looking at Tsunade passing through the Konoha gate, he seemed to have restored his former domineering and calmness, and Sarutobi couldn't help but tear up some old tears. Tsunade, who came to Sarutobi Hitoshi's body, looked at the older and older master, and he was also embarrassed. After a few greetings, they came to the Hokage office together. Seeing that the big guys have all entered the office, the idlers and others all consciously retreat. After all, what follows is the conversation between high-end bosses, but they are not able to know. However, Naruto Uzumaki was the only silly person who followed him directly. After a while, a howl of bluffing rang in the Hokage office. 3 generations of grandpa, what are you talking about? Sasuke, defected. As soon as Naruto finished yelling, he kicked open the door of the office. The whole person just dashed away and left. Naruto, you. The 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi was also taken aback by Naruto. In his opinion, Renju power is an important combat power of the village, how can he move randomly? In addition, Naruto's strength is still so poor, what should I do if an accident happens when he goes out? For Sarutobi Hazaki's anxiety, Jiraiya also looked relieved. It's okay, he has already learned Helix Pill, so he will go out to experience it, don't worry. Seeing that Ji-Lai was so relieved, Sarutobi Hizen's previously uneasy mood also calmed down. After that, Sarutobi Hisaki even thought of letting Naruto go for reinforcements, which was actually not bad. Before Shikamaru was still worried about the reasons for the lack of combat power, now it is fine. After Naruto joins, the combat power should also be strengthened. Although Jiraiya and Tsunade are back, but if you want these 2 to chase Sasuke, you probably want to eat ass. To be honest, in Sanin's eyes, Sasuke is at best Nakanin. In the eyes of a shadow-level powerhouse, Zhang Ren is nothing. After Naruto left, Jiraiya and Sarutobi Hazumi quietly listened to Tsunade's account for these years. However, for Tsunade's first half of giving money to life, Sarutobi Hizen appears to be lacking in interest. Although he was not in high spirits, he shuddered at the sound, which was ashamed to be at his door. But when Tsunade talked about Short Book Street, the two became interested. No one was surprised by the fact that Dashimaru was still alive, and it was obviously predictable. But when Tsunade talked about Chinyu, the ears of the third generation of Naruto Tobihiro stood up. This boy, he left the village without saying hello, so he went to find Tsunade. Sarutobi Hichi secretly said. Then I thought about it, it seemed wrong. Then what about Chinyu? Why didn't he come back with you? Suddenly asked by Sarutobi Hisaki, Tsunade was stunned. Then he said angrily. He obviously touched. No, he obviously returned to Konoha with the technique of the Thunder God a few days ago. Whenever Chinyu was mentioned, Tsunade thought of the attack on the ball a few days ago. When he thought of this, Tsunade was so angry that he almost missed it by accident. But after thinking about it, I sold him just now, and it should be able to cause him some trouble. When I think of this, I feel better again. Hearing this, the three generations of Naruto ape Fury cut a cold snort. Immediately he took out a crystal ball and angrily knotted several handprints. As the chakra poured into the crystal ball, the scene on the crystal ball flickered. In the end, it stopped on a scene. Looking into the distance is a very magical ninjutsu. As long as you know the opponent's chakra characteristics, you can find the target within 1,000 miles. As Konoha's master, Sarutobi Hisaki is very convenient to supervise Konoha with this technique. Of course, it's not clear if you have used this technique to do something unknown. However, with his common nosebleed hurricane, obviously he should have done something unknown. As for Tsunade and Jiraiya, as disciples of Sarutobi Hizen, they knew that this technique was not uncommon. However, today's crystal ball is a little abnormal. The crystal ball, which should have been very clear, is indeed somewhat blurred today. The subject cannot be displayed perfectly and clearly, only the surrounding things can be clearly displayed. What's the situation? Jiraiya looked a little confused, and asked straightforwardly. Sarutobi Hizen scolded angrily. You are a pig brain. This is clearly blocking the barrier. Jiraiya was also very sad and indignant. This was obviously a disaster. Then he whispered secretly, you will get angry at me. Although the three generations heard it, they ignored him. Instead, he stared at the crystal ball tightly, and said bitterly, Tsunade is right, this guy has already returned. No one knew, Chinyu had already laid the barrier on the first day he returned. He was very aware of this technique in the hands of the three generations of Naruto Sarutobi. In order to avoid exposing it, he had already guarded against it. However, he did not expect that Tsunade's return today had completely exposed everything about him. Sarutobi Hizen had stayed in Konoha for many years, and after just staring at the crystal ball for a while, he had discovered that it was Chinyu's private property. Suddenly, Sarutobi's son gasped for breath. He was very angry, so angry that after quietly returning to the village, he directly acted as a hand-handling shopkeeper, regardless of the overall situation. At this time, Shiraihong, the toolman who died, also just came to the Hokage office to hand over the task. Toolman Yuhihong just saw Tsunade, and the corners of his mouth twitched for a while. She knew that since Tsunade was back, her good days were over. I wanted to leave after handing over the task as quickly as possible, but Sarutobi saw a flaw. First I saw Tsunade's expression, then this arrogant behavior, and the current rush situation. After recombining his relationship with Yurihong, Sarutobi Hizen's heart was already 80% suspicious that this person was not Yurihong. Seeing Sarutobi Hizen staring at him tightly, Yurihong, who is a toolman, shook his face for a while. Well, 3 generations of Hokage-sama, the mission was successfully completed, I'll leave first. As soon as he finished speaking, without any hesitation, Shiraihong turned around and left. Asshole. Looking at the appearance of Shiraihong, can't I see anything? Sarutobi slapped the table, and directly shouted, stop it for me. I had thought that as a tool man, Shiraihong didn't stop in the slightest, but accelerated the pace of leaving. Sarutobi Risho said with a furious voice, "You two stop him for me." Tsunade and Jilai were also well prepared, and directly stopped the toolman Yurihong from left to right. Shiraihong's mouth twitched, looking at the two people blocking the road in front of him, and asked, "Master Naruto, two adults, what's the matter?" "Asshole, it's up to now, you still want to act for me?" Sarutobi Hitoshi said furiously. "I want to see how your little devil escapes now." Tsunade clenched his fists, looking like he was about to make a move. As for Jilai, he shook his head gleefully, just watching the show. Seeing that it had been dismantled, Chinyu said directly, "The wind is tight, whisper, withdraw." It was directly a seal, and the tool person Shiraihong directly, banged, and disappeared. Seeing Chinyu, who was running directly in front of him, Sarufe recut his beard and stared. He was so angry that he just yelled, "Hurry up and come, and go to Chinyu's house immediately, let this F- to see me immediately. Otherwise, the old man will directly announce to the public that he will inherit the position of the 5th generation of Hokage." Hearing this, Jilai took a breath. For their super slackers who yearn for freedom, if they sit in the position of Hokage, it means that they can no longer have freedom, and they can't continue to be lazy. They want to start dealing with Konoha endlessly every day, and they can only sit in front of their desks every day. This threat, part-time job is even more terrible than killing them. Hearing the shouts of the 3 generations of Hokage, the members of the dark part on the roof slipped and almost didn't fall. He swallowed hard and asked, "Hokage-sama, do you need to think about this wording?" The usual cold voice, but now it is helpless. Obviously, he is also dumbfounded at this moment. "This is all madness, I heard that I was completely in the mist. And the most amazing thing is that there are people who threaten people with the inheritance of the 5 generations of Hokage. Are you sure this is a threat, not a reward? It's really weird every day, there are so many today. What's more, what makes him completely incomprehensible is that Konoha's Hokage are all selected like this. I will consider." Sarutobi Risen was now in anger, and he almost spit out fragrantly. After forcibly enduring it, he said, "No, just say what I said. You remember, a word is not bad, just say it." "Yes, Hokage-sama." At this time, Anbu said nothing, and just left. After a few minutes, he came outside Chinyu's house. Quote? Just about to knock on the door, I heard the sound of flying chess in the room. Mao Yuxian's hands froze directly in the air, and the corners of her mouth twitched directly, and several black lines were pushed down on her head. "Well, as Konoha's ninja, can't I do serious things in broad daylight? When can I not play flying chess?" Mao Yuxian stood in front of Chinyu's house a little messy in the wind, and her mind was full of question marks. Why is it like this again? It's like this again. In fact, this was not the first time he had come to summon Chinyu. To be honest, as Hokage's direct subordinate Onbi, there are countless people summoned. However, no one was like Chinyu. Every time he came to summon him, there was always a moth, and it was stronger than the moth every time. It is the first time to summon Chinyu, he is playing flying chess. Now it is the second time to summon Chinyu, playing flying chess again. Mao Yuxian's face was speechless, remembering the 3 generations of Hokage Sarutobi's explanation, and immediately raised his hand to knock on the door. However, before knocking on the door, he retracted his hand again. In this way, 3 ups and downs prepared to knock on the door 3 times. At the last time, he didn't knock on the door. There are 2 reasons, one of which is to disturb others playing flying chess, which is immoral. As for the second one, he knew very well the temper of the master inside, which was quite hot. After Mao Yuxian thought about it, he decided to wait for a while. After calming down a bit, Mao Yuxian deliberately stayed away from Chinyu's house so that she would no longer hear these messy things. Although his idea is very simple, just stay away and don't hear it. It's just a game of flying chess, and it's very fast. But is Chinyu an ordinary person? Obviously not. Yu Yuxian waited for a while, and a quarter of an hour passed. As he waited, not only the sound of flying chess became louder and louder, but his feet were almost numb. What's the situation? Flying chess can be played for so long. Is this a man or a cow? When he came last time, he didn't do it like this. Why is it that he came here today? Mao Yuxian didn't know, Qinyu just ended when she came last time. But now, it's just the beginning, it's hard to say the two. With a black face, I can only continue to wait helplessly. After waiting for a while, the flying chess is finally over. Uzu Xian's face was very wonderful at this time, and after taking a deep breath, she came to the front of the room and knocked on the door again. There was no response after knocking on the door. Uzuki Xian increased the knock on the door. The result was the same as before, with no response. Mao Yuxian's face turned black, and the corners of her mouth twitched and shouted into the room. Master Qinyu, 3 generations of adults know that you are in the room, and he wants you to go to the Hokage office immediately. However, there was a moment of silence and no response. Mao Yuxian was angry, really furious. Master Qinyu, Master Naruto asked you to run over to find him immediately, otherwise, he will directly announce that you are the new 5th generation Naruto. The silent house began to make a sound when it fell with the voice of Yu Yuxian. This old man is poisonous. There was a spitting howl, followed by a series of tidying up sounds. After a while, Qinyu opened the door and walked out. As Qinyu walked out, there were 4 others, Shirahong, Xionglan, Tamari and Hyuga Huahuo. Looking at the sudden appearance of so many people, Mao Yuxian was messed up. This is flying chess story. Moreover, there is another person here who is very familiar with himself, and that is Shirahong. She is classmates with herself, and both are classmates of ninja school. I saw that the current Shirahong had become very mature and charming, and even the other young girls exuded all kinds of feminine atmosphere at this time. Qinyu saw Mao Yuxian when he went out, and said directly, "Oh, it's you, I saw it last time." Oh, it turned out to be Xian. Shirahong greeted directly. Ahem. Seeing Yurihong saying hello, Uzuki Xian coughed awkwardly. The thought of the sound of flying chess in the room just now made Uzuki Yuyan a little embarrassed. He didn't dare to talk to Shirahong directly, and directly urged Qinyu and said, let's go, the 3 generations of adults are waiting in a hurry." Seeing her now, Qinyu narrowed his eyes slightly. The corner of his mouth was hooked, and he smiled and asked, what did you just hear? What? Uzuki Yuyan exclaimed, and then denied it. No. I didn't hear anything, I just arrived. However, Yu Yuxian, who was in a hurry, didn't notice, her tone at this time was different. With this different tone, you can hear the problem no matter how you listen. Upon hearing this, Shirahong's face flushed for a while. Qinyu stared bitterly, as if saying, it's all you, all to blame. Qinyu curled his lips and didn't care. Immediately, Qinyu followed Mao Yuxian and left. Along the way, Qinyu smiled as he watched Mao Yuxian's eyes and nose and heart. Hey, Xian, right. Don't be so shy. Come and play chess when you have time. My chess skills are slick. As soon as Qinyu said this, the air was quiet on the spot. Mao Yuxian directly opened her mouth wide and looked at Qinyu with an incredible face. In my heart, I was thinking, what kind of fool is this that dares to say such things in the street like this? You. Mao Yuxian pointed at Qinyu, stammering for nothing. After embarrassing for a long time, he said, my chess skill? No, I can't play chess. Hearing these words, Qinyu suddenly became happy. He clicked the corner of his mouth and said, it won't be okay, I can teach you how to play chess. The previous Mao Yuxian thought that Qinyu was joking, but now that it is all right, he just replied. Mao Yuxian blushed for a while, and her heart became very angry. He couldn't think that Qinyu really felt so shameless. Mao Yuxian asked herself that she was not a good temper, and if it was tied, he would pass it straight away. But now she just felt shy and blushed, as if she didn't dislike Qinyu's frivolity. All of a sudden, Mao Yuxian was full of embarrassment. But Qinyu didn't take it seriously, and teased as he walked. The words on the left and the words on the right are very uncomfortable. It didn't take long for the two to arrive at Hokage's office. Sarutobi Rizhin, who was sitting on the master's desk, had long been waiting impatiently, and when he saw Qinyu coming, he just shot the table. Bang! Then he opened his voice and condemned loudly, how did the old man explain it? Let you roll over immediately. When you are good, just give me 2 hours. Seeing that Sarutobi Hitoshi was angry, Tsunade and Jiraiya had a good time. Seeing that Yuan Fei Rizan was so angry, Chinyu didn't take it seriously. He curled his lips slightly and said, "Don't be so angry. I just came in here and I was almost scared by you. I was busy with life events just now." "Ha," Sarutobi snorted heavily, and said disdainfully, "Your kid has a big event in life." Seeing Sarutobi Rizan completely disbelieving, Chinyu couldn't help spreading his hands. Immediately, she slapped her mouth at Yuyushian beside her, and said, "If you don't believe me, ask her, she can testify to me." Muyushian suddenly twitched the corner of her mouth. Obviously, she was shown by Chinyu's show operation. She has never seen such shameless. Can an outsider prove something like flying chess? This Nemas is simply Chen Dusho, even better than Chen Dusho. At this moment, Yuyushian's chest only felt blocked. Although helpless, he had to blush and vaguely prove to Chinyu, yes, I was dealing with some important things just now. Seeing that his Anbu members were doing this, Sarutobi Rizan could only sigh helplessly. He waved his hand and said, "You have it, you can go down first." "Yes, Lord Naruto." Subordinates retired. Mao Yushian was amnesty, and she was about to retreat in a hurry. She didn't want to be by Chinyu's side for a moment. If he continues to stay by her side, the ghost knows if his next sentence will be the same as before. Looking at Chinyu, Tsunade's resentment broke out, and he said coldly, "Oh. Honorable, 5th generation Naruto Lord, we have met again." When Tsunade spoke, he added an accent especially to the words, 5 generations of Hokage Lord. No matter who it is, you can hear the resentment inside. She is full of resentment and anger in her heart now. Thinking of her as one of the 3 forbearances, Chinyu was cheated by this stinky boy. It was also later that Jiraiya was needed, and then it became clear that it turned out that she was asked to succeed Hokage, and what Chinyu said at the time was completely bullshit. However, Tsunade didn't look at who Chinyu was. In the face of her accusations, Chinyu didn't care at all. I saw Chinyu shrugging his shoulders and jokingly said, "I'm not wrong again. It was the old man who wanted me to succeed, but he was rejected by me." When Chinyu said this, his tone and expression were full of disgust. The 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi were present, and their expressions were as dark as the bottom of a pot on the spot. After Chinyu finished speaking, he shook his eyebrows provocatively at Tsunade, as if he was saying, "That's my little master, I won't do it. This position falls on you." You. Tsunade was furious for a while, and his chest directly fluctuated. Immediately, he forcibly suppressed the anger in his heart, gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, let this matter aside for now, is there still an account between you and me that needs to be calculated?" Obviously, the account that Tsunade said was the last time the ball attack was publicly announced. How could Chinyu admit to this incident? It was just a blank expression on his face, and he asked, "Ah. What account? I don't understand what you say. This kind of thing is absolutely unrecognizable." Hearing this, Tsunade was about to take his fist, and he said, "You give my old lady back. Look at my old lady, I will help you remember your memories." Seeing Tsunade preparing to do it, Chinyu directly waved his hand and said, "Stop. Stop, calm down." After speaking, Chinyu immediately put on a pitiful expression. "Master Tsunade, you, as Konoha's predecessor, one of the 3 famous ninjas in the ninja world, you have to make some sense. What the hell did I offend you? You can say it directly in front of the big guy, and let everyone comment on you, otherwise, I won't recite this pot." Chinyu had a pitiful expression, but in fact he didn't panic. Not only that, but he even blinked at Tsunade a little bit humble. Hearing that, Ji Lai was also very curious about what happened to these 2 people. He directly asked Tsunade, "That's right, Tsunade, tell me how this guy offended you." Facing the pure Tihan and Jiraiya, Tsunade simply ignored him. Opened his eyes and stared at Chinyu bitterly, and gritted his teeth and said, "Asshole kid, I'll wait for you to give it to my old lady. This matter is not finished, I will count it with you later." Seeing Tsunade, who was angry but couldn't make the fire, Joraji was also very curious. The whole person directly relied on Chinyu's quietly passing in, "Okay, kid, I don't see that you are really capable." Seeing Tsunade's face full of anger but stunned, your operation is very slippery. When Chinyu heard the words, the corners of his mouth twitched unconsciously, and then he secretly said in his heart, if I let you know the reason for her anger, I guess you should just throw a spiral pill on me right now. Ahem. The 3 generations of Naruto Tobihiro, who had a face on the side, coughed gently, attracting everyone's eyes again. Sarutobi Rijin looked at Chinyu directly after seeing the crowd turning their gazes away. You just ran out without saying a word, and even when you came back, you deliberately concealed it. It's not that easy to expose it. When Chinyu heard this, he was unhappy now, curled his lips and whispered, Escalation is too fast, this is my fault. Hearing that, everyone present was taken aback. Is Nima talking human words? Forget it, the old man doesn't want to talk nonsense with you now. Sarutobi Hizen just ended this topic. Sarutobi Hizen directly aimed his gaze at Tsunade, who was aside. His gaze was full of scorching light. Ahem, old man, just tell me if you have anything to say, don't look at me like that, it's scary. Tsunade was a little hairy when he was stared at by Sarutobi Hitoshi. Tsunade, after working for so many years, the old man is really tired, and now he is getting more and more powerless. The tone of the 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi Rijin was exhausted that could not be concealed. When I said that, he dangled his empty left sleeve directly and sold a lot of misfortune. They should have told you about the succession of Hokage. The old man is the master. From now on, you are Konoha's 5 generations of Hokage. Now you can exercise the power of Hokage. No, that me. Tsunade would say more, but he was directly interrupted by the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi with a wave of his hand. Sarutobi Rijin directly went on to say, you just take care of your Hokage, you don't have to worry about other things, you have your own old man to take care of it. I will inform the name, and then I will discuss a good day with the 2 consultants, and hold the Hokage succession ceremony for you as soon as possible. As for Chinyu and Zelaya, you 2 fools won't be able to count on a mission, and you are not allowed to leave Konoha for this period of time. The current Konoha is the eventful autumn, so you 2 will stay in the village directly for me. Chinyu's mouth twitched as he watched Sarutobi Rijin's continuous operation. This old man is the actor at all. He pretends to be very tired, but this whole lot of words is called a slip. There is no opportunity for a few people to interrupt or refute. After Sarutobi Hitoshi finished the operation, he took the Hokage cloak off his head and put it on the table, then turned his head and went to the window to smoke. Not me. Tsunade, whose face was shown off by Sarutobi, just realized that he wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. There was a feeling in her heart that she hadn't seen her for many years, and her teacher seemed to have become even more bachelor. Especially this kind of throwing hands at the shopkeeper. What he did was really sneaky, and he didn't even bother to resist. In desperation, Tsunade finally had no choice but to admit his fate and said, in that case, then all right. However, Tsunade, who had no choice but to admit his fate in the previous second, changed the expression on his face in the next second. There was a smirk on her face, and she looked at Chinyu very playfully. Seeing Tsunade's appearance, Chinyu suddenly knew that he must be holding back. What? Haven't you seen a handsome boy like Xiaoyi? Chinyu wasn't afraid, just rolled his eyes. Sure enough, Tsunade lived up to expectations, directly akimbo his hands, and roared at Chinyu. Bold brat, do you know who you are talking to now? You know, my old lady is now the 5th generation of Hokage. Oh, Chinyu disapproved, and replied faintly. Then he cast a glance at her, dealt with it calmly, and asked, what then? What do you want? In Chinyu's opinion, how can Hokage drop? I can still scare you as an idiot. Whether it is a quarrel or a fight, he doesn't persuade him. Tsunade glared at Chinyu, and after clearing his throat, he said solemnly, huh. Listen to me, this Hokage is about to issue the first order after taking office. Hearing this, Ji Lai hurriedly raised his ears, and even the 3rd generation of Hokage who had turned his back to smoke just now turned back, holding a pipe in his hand and listening with interest. Konoha Shinobu Chinyu, without asking for instructions, went out of the village privately, and after returning, he concealed it without reporting, evading the mission. From then on, Chinyu disrespected Hokage even more, with all kinds of bad behaviors and heinous crimes. Based on the above, today, in the name of the 5 generations of Hokage, I will forever seal his promotion opportunities. Tsunade finished this paragraph in a decent manner, and then looked at Chinyu with a smug expression, his eyes full of jokes. Hi. Jilai also gasped at the scene. Then he secretly said in his heart, offending no one can offend Tsunade, this woman is not only a strong fist, but this method is also ruthless. As for Sarutobi Rishi, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. I don't know why, he always feels a bit bad foreboding. Sure enough, as soon as Chinyu heard what Tsunade said, his face immediately sank, and he asked solemnly, are you sure? HMPH. Of course. Tsunade hooked the corner of his mouth and nodded without hesitation. In the end, he was even more sure of revenge. Boy, now I know the one who provokes the old lady. However, before Tsunade finished speaking, the expression on Chinyu's face changed directly. I saw that his dignified expression suddenly turned into happy, which was extremely happy. Chinyu grabbed Tsunade's hand and exclaimed excitedly, this matter has been decided so happily, but it can't be changed. Tsunade. Jiraiya. Sarutobi Rishi. Nani. Tsunade looked dumbfounded. At this moment Tsunade didn't understand that Chinyu was so happy for Mao. Because of the shock, Tsunade even forgot to pull his hand back, and Chinyu just held on to it. The yin seal allows her to keep her youthful color all the time, and a pair of jade hands are just as tender as a girl. I said are you okay? Tsunade said incredulously, you have to be forbearance now. Why are you so happy? Good shinobi. I like shinobi now. Chinyu's face was full of exaggerated expressions. Several leaders, Shaoren can only do tasks below sea level, otherwise it will kill people. I am just a little Shaoren. Call. The 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi heard the words and let out a long sigh, and then the expression, sure enough, appeared on his face. Based on his understanding of Chinyu, his brain circuit has always been completely different from others. However, no one knew. In fact, at this moment, Chinyu didn't say a word. That is, you, indigenous people, are too ignorant. As we all know, the upper ninja is cannon fodder, and the shadow level is also a dragon set. Only Konoha's lower ninja is the most powerful existence in the ninja world. Tsunade frowned when he heard this, and asked curiously, but if you don't do advanced tasks, you won't make money. You little devil still loves to get in touch with flowers and weeds outside, how can you raise others by then? Tsunade is indeed pragmatic, knowing that the difficulty of ninjas' high-level tasks and low-level tasks is very different. Therefore, the task compensation between them is not of the same magnitude at all. Not to mention anything else, it's fine to just say that Jilai is present. Can Mao Zilai be rich? Do they have 8 or 9-figure deposits for Mao? In addition to the manuscript fees earned by special books such as Intimacy Paradise, the rest is his reward for completing advanced tasks. At this time, Chinyu pretended to cooperate very well with Tsunade, slapped his thigh suddenly, and said as if he had just reacted, 5th generation Hokage-sama, you were right. HMPH. Seeing Chinyu's appearance, Tsunade looked at him playfully. However, in the next second, Chinyu suddenly laughed wildly. Yeah, I have so many girlfriends, I am afraid that no one will raise them. Isn't it good to eat soft rice? As soon as these words came out, Hokage's office fell into deathly silence. The 4 people present all looked at Chinyu like rare animals. At this time, Jilai Yi had a twitch in his heart, is there such an operation? As for Tsunade, at this moment, he felt like 10,000 grass and mud horses galloping past. Even if you eat soft rice, you still want to eat soft rice hard. Is this horse riding still human? Chinyu was just a clever one, and just turned around after talking about it. Just as he was about to leave, he left a strong saying, since the matter has been clarified, I will go back to each house and find each mother. Master is going home for soft food. See you. Who is the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi, that is also a human spirit? Seeing that Chinyu was about to leave, he hurriedly said, wait, you kid wait for me. Are you going to dry your hair again? Chinyu turned his head impatiently and looked at Sarufiri. Facing Chinyu's expression, the old fox, Sarutobi Rishang, was naturally not afraid. I saw him ignoring the expression on Chinyu's face, and then said quietly, now you have to perform a task, and that is to meet the Kamaru team. They have been chasing Sasuke for a long time, and there has been no news for so long. You go to meet them. As soon as Sarutobi Risen finished speaking, Chinyu stopped doing it on the spot. Then he resisted and said, hey, don't play like that, you just announced your abdication of the 3-generation-old man. Sarutobi Hizen also nodded very interestingly, and said, oh, yeah, I have already abdicated. After speaking, Sarutobi Hazaki didn't speak directly. Although he didn't speak, he still gave Tsunade a quiet wink. When Tsunade saw Sarutobi Hitazumi's wink, he immediately understood what he meant. Raised his eyebrows, he took the baton with a smile. That's right, my mother is now Hokage, and my mother is now commanding you as the 5th generation of Hokage. You must perform this task now. These 2 masters and apprentices are all black-bellied goods. Chinyu slandered. I saw Chinyu's exaggerated expression on his face, and he said, no way, no way. I'm just a weak person. You sent me on such a difficult task. Are you asking me to die? Snapped. Hearing that, Tsunade's forehead violently crossed. Don't be nonsense. This time, except Shikamaru who is Zongnan, everyone else is Shinran. You don't need to say anything, let me quickly perform the task. Tsunade roared directly at Chinyu. Moreover, even if you don't care about others, don't you care about your 2 little girlfriends? They went too. Bye. Chinyu rolled his eyes directly, turned and left. This fool. Seeing Chinyu's back in a hurry, Sarufe Rijin shook his head helplessly. He really couldn't control this lawless little devil. Tsunade smiled, and then said, teacher, don't worry, I just found out. Talking to this kid about women is more effective than talking about anything. This kid, he's even horny at a young age than Zlai. He has so many little girlfriends and big girlfriends in Konoha, teacher, don't hesitate to put 120 hearts. When Sarutobi heard this, he laughed directly. After listening to Tsunade's words and thinking about Chinyu's character, I felt relieved for a while. As for Jiraiya on the side, he touched his nose awkwardly, and whispered in a low voice next to him, I'm not lustful, I'm all for the great cause of collecting materials. Of course, everybody thought he hadn't heard his quiet protest. After Chinyu left Hokage's office, he did not panic at all. After all, Sarutobi Hitoshi said that there were 10 people in the team that he was going to this time. In Chinyu's view, with Konoha's 12 Xiaoqiang potential, it should be no problem to deal with the shit of the Tonin group of 5. And maybe I don't need Gaara's help this time. However, what Chinyu didn't know was that Otonin was sent by Dashiwan to ensure the success of the mission. In terms of quantity and even quality, compared to the original work, it is not only a star and a half stronger. As soon as Chinyu came to Konoha's gate, he saw Ino and Hinata walking towards the entrance of the village with Tiantian and Sakura. Although the few people were in a hurry, they were not hurt, and Chinyu was relieved. Chinyu stepped forward and asked casually what was going on in the battle. However, when Chinyu learned that Orochimaru had sent more than 30 sound ninjas, he was shocked for a while. In his heart, he secretly said, it seems that my appearance has caused the situation to change a bit too cruelly. This disgusting snake has become so cautious now. Fortunately, Hinata and Ino are fine, otherwise, I will kill you until you can never resurrect. Quote. Just thinking about it, Chinyu immediately discovered something. That is, he suddenly discovered that, let alone scars on Ino and Hinata's bodies, there is even little dust. Are the 30 ninjas sent by Orochimaru all displayed? Ino seemed to be aware of Chinyu's confusion. She also explained in a somewhat unclear way, the enemy seems to have been given some kind of order, and it doesn't matter to others, but she never kills herself and Hinata, and even avoids it if he can. Upon hearing this, Chinyu was also taken aback. He really didn't expect that the tyrannical and bloodthirsty Orochimaru would actually do this in order not to offend himself. Obviously, after many previous fights, Dashiwan was completely afraid of Chinyu. In private, he must have spent a lot of manpower and material resources investigating Chinyu, knowing that his Nilin is his woman. This may not be a big problem if others are moved. If Chinyu's woman dares to move, Chinyu is afraid that he will directly rush into their Yinin village and slaughter village. Maybe it was because of these scruples that Orochimaru gave such an incredible order. After thinking about all this, Chinyu stopped thinking about it. Looking at the supported Tiantian and Sakura, he asked a little strangely, "They are okay?" Tian has gone through many battles, and the ninja has been released too fiercely, a little tired, but there is no danger, don't worry. Ino said softly, his eyes full of admiration looking at Tian. Oh, that's the case. Chinyu nodded, and then made a gesture to leave. Why don't you ask Sakura? Ino asked strangely. Chinyu cast his eyes, and then said straightforwardly, what can he say? Her level, I wouldn't be surprised even if someone beat me to death. Ino was speechless, and the Hinata on the side couldn't stand it anymore, and explained in a low voice, no, it's not. Actually, Sakura was not injured. She was stunned by Captain Shikamaru with a hand knife. Hearing this, Chinyu twitched his mouth, as if thinking of something, he asked, oh. So beautiful, is it because Shikamaru wanted to fight the enemy, but he got it wrong? Shikamaru has passed this too, how come his level is weakened to this point now? Hinata quickly shook his head and explained, no, he just wanted to beat Sakura. Chinyu's turn was dumbfounded. This one. Hinata didn't know how to explain it now, but she didn't know how to say it. Ino, who was next to him, looked at Hinata's slow statement, and he was very anxious. Seeing that Hinata suddenly felt like this, he interrupted on his own and said, it's just that Sakura was too worried about Sasuke, so he went on a rampage and often ignored the captain's command. As a result, several times, lead the team to Tuan destruction. Chinyu asked tentatively. Hearing this, Ino nodded in embarrassment, and said, that's probably what I meant. I'll be a good boy. Chinyu blinked his mouth and said, I knew that this girl is a pit, but I never thought that she would get pitted like this. It's really an exterminator who led the team to annihilate. It really slipped and flew completely. Chinyu didn't like Haruno-Ying in his previous life or in this life. You know that in the previous life, Chinyu, a fan of Naruto, knew a word between Mio, as long as you hate Sakura, we're friends. However, the most important thing is that this woman really doesn't need to deliberately go black, she can really show problems every minute. By the way, Chinyu, although the team defeated most of the enemies, depending on the situation, the next 5 talents are the most powerful characters. Go and help them, Ino suddenly said to Chinyu a little nervously. Even Hinata, who has never spoken much, was uncharacteristic this time. He pulled Chinyu's sleeve and pleaded, Chinyu, Brother Ning, and Captain Shikamaru have all suffered serious injuries. You should go to meet them. Give them a look. Well, seeing that you two have both spoken like this, then I'll go take a look. Chinyu waved his hand. It just so happens that this is also a task given by the new Hokage, and now I have taken the opportunity to do a wave of operations, which is still good. Before leaving, Chinyu didn't forget to hold the small faces of Ino and Hinata in public and kiss each other. The faces of the two women blushed instantly. Tiantian, who was being supported on the side, saw Chinyu's operation with his mouth wide open, his hands were gestured for a long time, and he didn't say anything. Seeing Tiantian's appearance, Chinyu raised his eyebrows unkindly, and asked jokingly, What's the matter with Tiantian? Do you want it too? Hearing this every day, he was directly embarrassed, and quickly waved his hand and said, No. Oh, I see. Chinyu nodded as if understanding. Tian just relieved his heart, but Chinyu also kissed his face. I know you want to say that you are not polite, but I can't say it when I'm nervous, but it's okay, I understand. Chinyu said with a smirk. Hinata, Ino, day by day, what is this called? I understand. Do you really understand, or are you pretending to understand? After Chinyu left the village, he determined the direction through perception, and then headed in that direction. Along the way, Chinyu could see the corpse of the Otonin village ninja from time to time. Chinyu took advantage of the god of flying thunder, Kuwu, and hurried on his way. In less than half an hour, Chinyu saw Dingxi lying on the ground. Dingxi, who fell to the ground, was in a very poor state. His huge body was directly leaning against a rock, panting hard. Not far from his body, another fat man, an Otonin senior ninja lay on the ground and became a corpse. Dingxi, who was panting, was very happy to see Qinyu's arrival. Qinyu. Seeing Ding Xi's current state, Qinyu was also a little surprised. This guy is collapsed, and it seems that there is nothing wrong with it. Qinyu took a closer look, and then found that beside Ding Xi, there was a small 3-frame box lying on the side. The first 2 boxes of the small box are already empty, but the red pills in the third box are still there. Unexpectedly, Ding Xi had progressed to this point. You know, in the original work, Ding Xi used the last pill to defeat the powerful enemy. And after that, he passed out directly. If it weren't for Tsunade's timely treatment at the time, he would also have a cold. Obviously, Ding Xi has made great progress this time. Qinyu didn't know that it was because of his intervention that such a big change had taken place now. The strength of Konoha 12 Xiaoqiang has also improved a lot because of the pressure he brought. Qinyu came to Ding Xi's side, patted him on the shoulder, and said, "Not bad Ding Xi, so capable this time." Cough. Fortunately, I didn't take everyone's hind legs off this time. Although it was a bit hard to speak, Ding Xi was very happy. If Qinyu, you would have come early, it is estimated that you would have killed them a long time ago, and I wouldn't be like this. Qinyu smiled and said, "Hurt, I am here." Suddenly, Ding Xi, who was lying down, seemed to think of something, and suddenly widened his eyes and said, "Qinyu, I can stand it, you just leave me alone, Shikamaru and the others are more dangerous in front, you go and help them." Quote. Seeing Ding Xi caring about his companions so much, Qinyu smiled. This is probably the perfect heir to the will of fire, in the mouth of the 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi. No hurry, I will take you back to Konoha for treatment first. Qinyu waved his hand and said. However, Ding Xi hurriedly refused. No, it won't work, it will take a long time, and Shikamaru and the others will be even more dangerous by then. Qinyu smiled, hooked the corner of his mouth and said, "How can it be delayed for a long time? You believe me, it will be soon." Kang. Qinyu took out the Thunder God's sword casually, and then plunged it deeply into the ground, while his right hand grabbed Ding Xi's arm. Whoosh. Ding Xi only felt that the world was spinning, and he was very tranced. However, in the next second, he suddenly realized that he was already in the Hokage office. It turned out that before leaving, Qinyu had carved the mark of Flying Thunder God in the Hokage office. This is. Ding Xi looked at everything around him, first for a moment, and then quickly reacted, looking extremely excited. Flying Thunder God. The legendary Flying Thunder God's art. Ding Xi, good boy, you have worked hard. In the office of Naruto, the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi saw the seriously injured Ding Xi, and hurriedly came over to comfort and encourage him. Hearing Sarutobi Rishi's comfort and encouragement, Ding Xi's eyes were slightly moist and said, "Grandpa Naruto." Then, he laughed at you, "I'm going to meet the others." Qinyu raised an eyebrow at Tsunosho, and his figure disappeared in place again. There was another wave of spatial fluctuations, and when it appeared again, Qinyu had already passed the spatial coordinates on the Thunder God's sword and returned to the position where he had encountered Ding Xi before. Qinyu continued along the forest, and rescued Neji Hyuga, Inuzukaga, Nara Shikamaru, Lee Rock, and Yuzino along the way. And the same method is used. A Flying Thunder God, solve it. Each of these Xiaoqiangs carried serious injuries, but none of them was in danger of life. This time, I didn't use Sa Yin's Gaara to help. The Xiaoqiangs just relied on their own strengths to forcefully eliminate the 5 sound ninths. More importantly, through this hard battle, each of them has grown a lot again. After Qinyu sent the last 2 people back to the Hokage office for treatment by Tsunade, he returned to the battlefield through Fei Lei Shen again. He knew that there were only 2 naive sons of the ninja world left in front. It is estimated that in the Valley of the End, the earth-shattering Love and Kill is staged. Half an hour later, Qinyu came to the Valley of the End Yan. Sure enough, there are certain things in certain things. Many years ago, Asura and Indra's previous reincarnations Senjujuma and Uchiha Madara fought in this place. Now, the reincarnation of the 2 brothers, Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha, are also fighting here. Even if Qinyu entered in such a chaotic manner, he still failed to make any changes to this matter. When Qinyu arrived at the scene, he happened to catch the final blow of the 2 in midair. One red and one black, the two broke out into their current strongest form at the same time and rushed towards each other. Chin-Yu did not show up for the first time, but watched the show in the dark. Included in the set. Hey, Sas is on. Sasuke and Naruto were full of affection, and at the same time shouting each other's name, they made the ultimate blow. The Naruto was obsessed, and the spiral pill in his palm was pressed against the forehead on Sasuke's head. Sasuke didn't care about it, and the black dried bird in his hand pierced Naruto's abdomen directly. The result of this blow is no different from the original book. Naruto was stabbed in the body by a black dry bird and fell unwillingly, while Sasuke stood at the end. The blackened Sasuke hesitated for a long time beside Naruto, his hands clenched into fists tightly, his nails embedded in the flesh. In his mind, there are two villains fighting non-stop. If he killed Naruto at this time, he would probably open up a kaleidoscope to right round eyes, and he would directly gain the power to compete with Uchiha Itachi. If you don't kill Naruto, you don't know how many detours you have to take to get such powerful power. However, Naruto and himself have been classmates for many years, and later they became teammates. The two have worked hard together and fought together, and now they are about to kill the killer. Sasuke's conscience is a little disturbed. Sasuke directly scratched his hair in pain. Obviously, he was in absolute entanglement. He once saw the secret stone stele of the Uchiha clan, which recorded the way to open the kaleidoscope to right the wheel. And Uchiha Itachi, whom he regards as his enemy, also stated clearly, "Only if you have the same kaleidoscope as me, can you defeat me." But now, he only needs to take out the kunai and gently stab Naruto, who has passed out on the ground. Then, he will get everything he dreams of. Under this powerful temptation, Sasuke's body trembled involuntarily. Bang bang bang. His heart began to beat violently, and his body was trembling violently. Finally, Sasuke's conscience under the strong temptation found out. He chose to let go of Naruto, and after dropping his forehead, he resolutely turned and left. But at this moment, Chin-Yu's figure slowly walked out. "Boy, do you want to go like this?" Chin-Yu asked lightly. He didn't speak loudly at all, and he didn't use chakra to motivate him. However, this dull voice is tantamount to a thunderbolt in Sasuke's ears. Sasuke couldn't be more familiar with this utterly beating voice. Even if he didn't have to look back, he knew who this person was. The reason is also very simple, because the owner of this voice is the fool who has pressed him on the ground many times. Because of his existence, he took away all the light of his Uchiha genius. Everything in front of him will become very weak and small. Uchiha, Chin-Yu. Sasuke chanted the name in horror, and turned around trembling. Looking back, sure enough, Chin-Yu was slowly walking towards him. At the moment when the two looked at each other, Sasuke's eyes were full of panic. Seeing Chin-Yu's arrival, Sasuke's face was full of grief and anger. "If you don't come early or late, why do you show up at this last moment? He obviously will soon escape from the scope of the Fire Country. Obviously, he can fly far away immediately. I can finally embark on the path of pursuing the ultimate power. Why did this man come at the last minute? As someone else, he wouldn't care too much, even if it was Konoha's shinin." Sasuke, who received the blessing of the curse seal, is very confident in his heart, confident that he can keep up with Shinobu. However, when he faced Uchiha Chin-Yu, there was only a strong sense of powerlessness in his heart. This person possesses a power far superior to Shinobu. Under his suspicion, his strength is even comparable to the shadow level. It is possible that even Uchiha Itachi is not his opponent. Sasuke bit his lip firmly, staring at Chin-Yu tightly, his body completely taut. Then he asked in a deep voice, "Uchiha Chin-Yu, are you trying to force me back to Konoha?" Chin-Yu sneered, then shook his head lightly. "Then you are here to kill me." When Sasuke heard Chin-Yu say that he was not bringing himself back to the village, he suddenly thought of another, greater possibility. Sasuke's pupils shrank suddenly, he became highly vigilant, and looked at Chin-Yu alertly. Seeing Sasuke's appearance, he waved his hand. With a relaxed look, he said calmly, "If you really dared to kill Naruto just now, then you are already dead now." Kill, such a serious matter, when Chin-Yu said it out of his mouth, turned out to be so. However, just such a light and wind light sentence scared Sasuke's back completely wet with sweat. Looking back and thinking about it, Sasuke still couldn't help being afraid. The difference between my own thoughts is actually the distance between life and death. Having been together for so long, Sasuke has a deep understanding of Chinyu, and he has no doubts about what he just said. The man in front of him can really kill himself at any time. The most important thing is, he probably doesn't have any psychological burden. Sasuke, who had understood everything, gritted his teeth without enduring the cold in his heart, and asked in a deep voice, "Since you are not here to catch me, nor to kill me, what do you want to do?" Chinyu smiled, then spoke lightly. "You want revenge, you want to gain strength, I can understand this. After all, Konoha that looks like an ivory tower is not suitable for your development. I know that." Hearing what Chinyu said, Sasuke was also obviously taken aback. He really didn't expect Chinyu to say this, and he couldn't help but a glimmer of hope. However, in the next second, Chinyu suddenly said, "However, if you say you leave and leave, so many of your companions have been injured, and even Naruto has been severely injured. It's your fault." Hearing this, Sasuke had already heard something wrong, but couldn't help but asked, "So, what are you going to do to me?" When Sasuke asked, he was very vigilant. "Give you a chance," facing Konoha's direction, "kneel down respectfully to apologize." Chinyu pointed to Konoha's direction and said lightly, "Nani?" Hearing this, Sasuke's face changed drastically, and he backed away again and moved a little away from Chinyu. You. Sasuke never expected that Chinyu would make such an excessive request. "How dare you let yourself, a genius of the noble Uchiha clan, kneel down? Also apologize. What a humiliation in the eyes of the noble Uchiha clan genius. This kind of humiliation is better than death. Haha, Chinyu, you are too bad. If you want to kill me, you might as well say it. Why use such a means to find a hands-on excuse?" Sasuke shouted angrily. In Sasuke's view, Chinyu basically wanted to kill himself. However, it is not easy to take the initiative because of his peers. He is now persecuting himself. Let himself do it first, so that he has a reason to kill. Seeing Sasuke with such an attitude and reaction, Chinyu couldn't help but feel sorry for him. Chinyu looked at Sasuke in front of him with pity, and shook his head disdainfully. "Hey, I have to say, you have so many dramas. If it is you, do you need to find a reason to trample an ant to death?" Sasuke's face changed drastically when he heard this. At that moment, he already understood Chinyu's metaphor. It is very clear that in the eyes of the other party, this noble Uchiha genius is like an ant. This statement, Sasuke, is totally unacceptable. Sasuke became angry and exclaimed, "I have never suffered this kind of anger. Chinyu, you dare to humiliate me like this, you are really deceiving people too much. I tell you, the current me is not something you can easily handle." Today's Sasuke possesses the power of the curse from the Orochimaru. Having mastered the power, he brought up a hint of fantasy in his heart. That is because with the power of the curse seal, he might be able to go with Chinyu twice. Seeing Sasuke's self-confidence, Chinyu didn't bother to look at him. He just looked at Sasuke coldly and said, "Either kneel down to Konoha to make amends or die. There is no third way to choose." "Ah, Konoha's senior management planned to treat me like this." Sasuke was a little bit sad and angry. "Do not." Chinyu shook his head and admitted frankly, "The old man of the 3 generations is soft-hearted, just let me take you back." "Then what are you doing?" Sasuke was furious. "But now, your heart is no longer in Konoha, so what if you take you back? Moreover, even if I want to take you back, I don't think you want to." Chinyu initiated a soul torture. "Now I can give you a better choice and give you freedom, but before you leave, let me kneel down and apologize." Hearing this, Sasuke's face flushed with extreme anger, and angrily said, "Chinyu, you let me kneel unless I die." With a loud roar, Sasuke's body was suddenly covered with curse marks. With Sasuke's roar, his body was suddenly covered with curse marks. Even, because of the strong pressure Chinyu brought him, he immediately entered the second stage of the curse. The weird and evil curse runes quickly crawled all over Sasuke's body, and his original white skin also turned gray. Even the original dark eyes have turned into a vast gray. A strange wave flashed by, and power began to gather. On the bridge of Sasuke's nose, an evil cross began to form. Behind his double ribs, 2 wicked wings and big hands grew even more. The power in Sasuke's body is very evil. Although the power is evil, it has to be said that Sasuke's strength has been greatly improved under the blessing of the curse seal. Sasuke's original strength was the level of Shinobu. But now with the blessing of the curse seal, Sasuke's power has surpassed Sharingan. Chinyu watched the transformation of Sasuke quietly in this way, standing calmly on the spot, indifferent, only sneered. After a long time, Sasuke finally ended his narcissism. Sasuke screamed at Chinyu with a frantic look, "Chinyu! Look at the power I have now, how can you help me?" Seeing Sasuke's appearance, the corners of Chinyu's mouth twitched slightly, and he secretly said in his heart, "Oh, I'm going to put it on." Chinyu really didn't understand Sasuke. Dashiwan was in his own hands with discretion. And Sasuke got a little bit of Dashimaru, and even pretended to be like this in front of him. This is really fascinating and self-confidence. Chinyu shrugged his shoulders with a slight pain, and then said, "If this is your reliance and your trump card, I can only say that you are somewhat touched by cerebral palsy." "Chinyu, you are deceiving too much." Sasuke was furious. Stab. Sasuke quickly formed seals, and lightning gathered crazily on his left hand. Blinking his eyes, the extremely violent thunder and lightning formed the appearance of a spear in his palm. The thunder and lightning spear formed and began to extend forward and pierced Chinyu. Dry bird sharp gun. Under extreme pressure, the dry bird sharp gun in the assistant is more powerful. Moreover, after the power blessing of the curse seal, the power of Leidun has directly risen to a level. At the same time, Sasuke's 2 ribs, giant hand wings, shook suddenly, and his whole body quickly rose into the air. Immediately, he quickly retreated backwards. In fact, from beginning to end, Sasuke never wanted to fight Chinyu. Chinyu was stunned on the spot. At that time, seeing Sasuke making such a big momentum, I thought he was going to do a big fight. However, he never thought that he was actually trying to run away. Although it is a shame to run, I have to say that this is the most correct choice he has made for so long. If Sasuke really does something with Chinyu, then he is afraid that he will be killed with 2 tricks. There is only a small amount of reason left, so Sasuke is finally a little self-aware. He knows that he is not worthy to really do it with Chinyu. The purpose of his attack is to buy himself some time to escape. Sasuke conceded that he had wings behind him. As long as he was given some preparation time, he would definitely run faster than Chinyu. The violent lightning spear extended to Chinyu's body in an instant, piercing Chinyu Juni's face. However, Chinyu didn't panic at all, and didn't even see him move. From Chinyu's body, the dazzling thunder light began to flicker, and then stretched out a lot of thunder light. Chinyu's whole body seemed to be encased in a layer of thunder and lightning armor. This is the thunder wave of thunder ninjutsu. Now that Chinyu uses this trick again with his current strength, his power has increased by more than a level. It can be said that even if Konoha's former Higaki Tsukumo reborn, it is impossible to have his power. The dry bird sharp spear that Sasuke stabbed touched Chinyu's thunder wave. Not even a trace of electrical flowers was aroused. Instead, he was easily turned into his own energy by thunder wave. Nani, how is it possible? Seeing this scene in front of him, Sasuke's pupils who were in the air shrank suddenly. He originally thought that the powerful thunder ninjutsu trick he had just now, with the blessing of the curse seal, would bring Chinyu a lot of trouble. Even if it didn't, it would at least keep Chinyu in a hurry. In this way, he can no longer care about himself. However, I never thought that the result would be like this. He didn't even have the qualifications to make Chinyu face it. People don't need Jaein at all, and they don't even need to move a step. Facing such a terrible guy, Sasuke's heart had already started to boil violently. Because he found that every time, even for a short period of time, when you start with Chinyu, you will find that his strength has greatly improved. What was Chinyu's strength in the ninja school at the beginning, compared to his current strength? After careful consideration, Sasuke came to a conclusion that he couldn't believe, that is, Chinyu can become stronger all the time, and as time goes by, his strength will become stronger. It has only been so long until now. What kind of terrifying Chinyu's current strength has reached? Sasuke's body trembled when he saw his dry bird-sharp gun being cracked instantly. Then even more crazily accelerated the speed of post-spreading. However, how could Chin-Yu give him a chance? Whoosh! A violent breaking wind sounded, and Sasuke was horrified to find that the flickering thunder god's sword had arrived in front of him in an instant. Before he could dodge, Chin-Yu's figure also appeared in front of him. Chin-Yu held the hilt of Thor's sword in his big hand, and the tip of the sword pointed at Sasuke. Nani? Sasuke was shocked for a while, and in a panic, he had to gritted his teeth and punched Chin-Yu in the chest. Humph! Chin-Yu sneered, his body was slightly deflected, and he passed the punch. He made a fist with his left hand and hit Sasuke's stomach with a heavy blow. Puff! Chin-Yu made a heavy move this time, and Sasuke turned into a well-ripe prawn with just one blow, spurting out a mouthful of blood. After that, Chin-Yu kicked Sasuke from high in the air with a random whip kick. Ahem! Sasuke was directly beaten by Chin-Yu's 2 consecutive moves, and it took a long time before he struggled to stand up from the ground. Seeing Sasuke's appearance, Chin-Yu felt amused, and said with a mockery, "Spit, is this the power you are proud of? It's still so vulnerable." You. Sasuke was furious, his face flushed, and he instantly lost his mind. Stabbed. In the next moment, a violent thunder and lightning suddenly appeared in Sasuke's hand. Under the blessing of the curse seal, the original blue dry bird has become black. Give me to die. Sasuke screamed frantically, and the 2 big wings behind him danced desperately, sprinting all the way towards Chin-Yu. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.